And greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, and loving life. Want to remind everybody hit that like, share, and subscribe. There's a PayPal link down below for anybody who wants to share some love. Always appreciated. And the StreamYard link is there for anybody who wants to join the panel. We're going to go over some more of the insanity in our first episode of Tits Out and Balls to the Wall. A program I'm going to do every Sunday night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, going over shorts that we get from YouTube and various other videos, TikTok and stuff like that. Going over the insanity that we are currently experiencing in today's world. And we've got John here with us tonight. How you doing tonight, John?
Hey, what's up, Keith? How you doing?
Good, good. How about yourself? You're look like you got some rain there recently or something?
Yeah, I think I'm just standing in front of the light too much here. Yeah, we did get some rain, but it's been pretty good though.
Good deal, good deal. I know a lot of places around the country have been kind of dry, but good to see some rain finally.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go over some more insanity, John. And I want to give a caveat to everybody real quick as it relates to these videos. When you watch an extreme amount of these videos, you have to do it with the perspective of apathy. You have to stay away from the sympathetic and empathetic aspects of these videos. Otherwise, you'll get drawn into them and become biased and stuff. And I think it's important for us to comprehend we have to come out of those biases. Like I've said many times, we've gone from a country that supposedly is setting thine house in order to a chaotic membership of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's far out of hand. So let's get into it. This first one here, just for comic shits and giggles to show you how outrageous we can start getting with this. As long as we use reason and logic and address the issues one at a time to get our point out. Very short, sweet little video here.
Curse him out. And as long as I don't threaten him, I can say what I want. Am I correct? Yes. We sick and tired of that nigga there. We sick and tired. As I don't curse him out, and as long as I don't threaten him, I can say what I want. Am I correct? Yes. We sick and tired of that nigga there. We sick and tired.
And so we see people are getting very blunt and straight about this stuff. And it's just a matter of letting them know, as long as I don't curse them out and I don't make a threat, I can say what I want. That's your First Amendment, folks. Freedom of expression. And just because somebody gets their feelers hurt, wah, too bad. Now, I don't really condone using such language like that because it does incite and escalate things at times. But when times are escalated, it's time to get real. And that's all I'm saying.
It gets the steam out, but you can't get personal.
Right.
Kung Fu.
Let's look at the next one.
Logic is not like Kung Fu. Your Kung Fu is not better than my Kung Fu. There is only one Kung Fu in this situation. There's only one logic.
Okay, if that's the way that you want to interpret logic, then.
If that's the way you want to interpret logic, no, logic is only one thing. Whether it be objective or subjective, it sets things in order. There's a defined order of things, pure and simple.
No. That's the only way it can be.
That's
it's like
your
math.
way.
Okay, here, let me demonstrate it for you. Can 2 + 2 ever not equal 4?
Listen to what she comes up with. This is what she thinks is logic. And it's the epitome of going outside of logic to try to fit yourself in.
Like if I were to like think about the logic of math, maybe there's someone who could come
No,
up
no,
with
can
that.
2
Maybe there's someone who could come up with that. Maybe someone could come up with that. No, it's not a maybe. It's a defined set order.
plus 2 ever not equal 4?
Unless there's missing information,
What?
because
And again, unless there's missing information. There is no missing information. It's defined logic in order. There's nothing simpler than things like 2 plus 2, 1 plus 1.
2 plus 2, if there's missing information in the middle.
What do you
if it's-
mean? No, it
Yeah,
literally,
2
there is no,
threes
what
plus
missing
2
information?
Logic is not like Kung Fu.
Exactly. And Andrew said it, or Brian said it too. What missing information? You got to stay within the bounds of reason and logic, folks. Otherwise, you look idiotic like these ladies here. And I give them grace by calling them ladies. This is just stupidity. Excuse my misogynist views, maybe. That's what you want to call it. Next one, we got Tucker gets mad. Let's see what Tucker gets mad about. Unless you got something to say on that one there, John.
No, nothing to say on that one.
All right.
We're sitting at dinner and this general is telling me about, I saw something really touching today. We had this female officer, and she was killed. Her legs were blown off by an IED, and her husband was there. And they've got 3 kids back in Virginia, but he held her hand as she died.
And this is the sad point I'm talking about when you want to call me a misogynist. Understand my viewpoint isn't to offend women, but to protect women, because I agree with Tucker here. Just listen.
This ultimate sacrifice for America. And I was like, what? You're like celebrating this? A girl got killed? A mother? I thought we fought wars to protect mothers and children. First of all, if you're sending girls to fight your wars, you're disgusting.
See, Tucker was always one of the better people on what is it, like the news channels. He was a straight shooter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the news, but I liked him and little Tom Brokaw, but that's about it.
I thought we fought wars to protect mothers and children. First of all, if you're sending girls to fight your wars, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you're violating the most basic agreement there is, which is the man protects. And in exchange for that, the willingness to sacrifice his life, he gets to be revered as a man. It's at the head and children. First of all, if you're sending girls to fight your wars, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you're violating the most basic agreement there is, which is the man protects. And in exchange for that, the willingness to sacrifice his life, he gets to be revered as a man. It's at the head of the table. If you're sending women to protect you, if there's a home invasion at your house at 3 a.m, and you're like, honey, I dealt with the last one. Go defend us. I hope that she leaves you. And she will, by the way.
Absolutely. But we don't have women like that here in America, it doesn't seem like. We have women that are willing to kick the men out and suck off the tit of a false patriarch. Claim some kind of privilege because of feminist rights. And then they're the ones that have this main proponent. Well, you can't, if you're not a woman, you shouldn't be discussing the issue about abortion. Excuse me? If I'm going to plant my seed in a woman, you're damn right I have something to say about abortion. It's idiotic. What do you think on that one, John?
I just think it's wrong that there's now women cops everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere, Keith. Even in my state. It's just so inappropriate.
Absolutely, and that's what we're coming to is, when are we going to start hiring 15, 16-year-olds? That's a serious question.
States is bringing Bibles back into schools. Check this out.
Important announcement today regarding the Bible and the Ten Commandments. My staff has been looking at Oklahoma statute. We've been looking at Oklahoma academic standards, and it's crystal clear to us that in the Oklahoma academic standards, under Title 70, multiple occasions, the Bible is a necessary historical document to teach our kids about the history of this country, to have a complete understanding of Western civilization, to have an understanding of the basis of our legal system, and is frankly, we're talking about the Bible, one of the most foundational documents used for the Constitution and the birth of our country. We also find major points in history that refer to the Bible, that reference the Bible. And Martin Luther King Jr., who used it as a tremendous impetus for the civil rights movement, and tie many of those arguments back to the Bible. It is essential that our kids have an understanding of the Bible and its historical context. So we will be issuing a memo today that every school district will adhere to, which is that every teacher, every classroom in the state will have a Bible in the classroom, and will be teaching from the Bible in the classroom.
The United
Now, I don't know how true that is, but, you know, this is just more insanity. Putting the education of the scriptures in the hands of other people that may or may not follow those scriptures, let alone be able to interpret them in the proper sense as Christians because of that. And this is one of those things I remind everybody about, that enumeration at birth where you go to the hospital to have a baby, moms and dads, and that doctor that's giving birth, that's doing the delivery, they took a Hippocratic oath to Apollo and the Greek god. Just so you know. What do you think?
Yeah. Do no harm. Not only do they fuck up our data, they fuck up the baby with shots. They're giving shots now to babies, Keith.
Absolutely. I remember the regime when I was a kid. I think there was 12 vaccines total in a matter of 3 shots, I think. Now it's ridiculous. They're giving them pretty much right shortly after they're born, 6 months, a year, 2 years, and yearly. You know, this is just ridiculous. It's taking us so far away from the nature and its balance of how our bodies actually work. It's part of the cognitive dissonance, though. It's part of the convenience and comfort that mom and dad want. Instead of educating their own children, they're also going to help medicate them, ADHD, by believing in that kind of stuff. I don't know any kid that had ADHD couldn't sit in front of a video game for hours on hours on hours. Don't tell me he's got ADHD. He's stubborn.
Yeah. They treat us like we're dead from the minute we're born. I mean, the medical system. You ever notice that? I mean,
well, yeah, they have to. They have to detach. I think that's one of the reasons that they take that Hippocratic oath. If you can be induced into taking a Hippocratic oath in a Christian society, I think that shows that you've automatically got detachment. If you have an issue with that, you would make that issue, and people would know about it. Not one of them does.
Right.
Okay. Let's see what this OG says. OG ain't hearing none of that.
Off me for a knock your motherfucking ass out, boy. Get your hands off me for a knock your motherfucking ass out, boy. Get your hands off me for a knock your motherfucking ass out. Bro, broski, look at me. Get your hand off me for a knock your ass. Get off me for a knock your ass out. Better get off.
You're gonna get tased. You're about to get tased.
Officer Simons, calm down.
Now, what
is your name? I'm Officer Simons. What is your name, sir? What is your name? I'm just showing up here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the you showing up here for. I ain't did something to go to Jersey Mike's to give me something to eat. What was you doing before this? Officer Simons, sir. You, boy, get the hell away from me, boy. If I knock your ass down, boy. There's no need for that. You better step up on his ass. I knock his ass the fuck out. I'm not gonna do that. And you better get her ass real quick. I knock your ass the fuck out. Get off me. You're about to go in cuffs. Come on. Now who wants what?
This motherfucker gonna knock them all out. You see what? See, this is what's going to get you in trouble is acting like this. Now, I can't say that the police are right here, but you certainly can't. These guys seem to be just standing by letting him do it. So it's one of those situations I tend to think it's something wrong with this guy. And it's one of those situations that knowing it's something wrong with this guy, the backup I would call would maybe be somebody on the medical side. You know what I mean? Family wise, you know, who's your family? You're acting pretty weird here, you know, or wild here. Something of that sort. I do give this guy kudos for his composure here, but same thing, you know, why was he there to begin with? Don't know how this guy was acting before. I don't know. Maybe he was accosting customers or something there. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it though. Otherwise, it would be inside, and customers or employees would be involved.
Life. If I die.
Now this is pathetic. This
on my.
It's hard to hear this for me, but at the same time, I at least am able to contemplate it and see that there's a possibility somebody could actually be this stupid. Because that's all it could be.
Mother's life, if I die and I wait to the pearly white gates of heaven, I want it to torture me for 100 trillion years. I'm that sure that God does not exist.
Hold up, you said you were that sure, but can you?
I'm that sure that God does not exist. Willing to bet. Oh yeah.
You give me a single reason why you say God does not exist? I asked you, give me a single reason for why you say God is not real, and you agreed you got nothing.
I've seen no evidence for a God.
That's not evidence God's not real, because absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
What do you say, John?
Sorry, Keith, I missed that one.
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Well, I guess I agree with that one.
Yeah, just because you don't know that I've got a mole on my ass doesn't mean I don't have a mole on my ass. So the absence of evidence to you doesn't mean the evidence is of absence.
Fundamentally, it's
no, it's not. At the moment, I actually have zero evidence.
That means that a trial by jury
but that's not therefore
is not a jury trial.
Correct. Same thing. A trial by jury is not a jury trial. Language is specific, folks.
Evidence that you don't have money in your wallet. So if you lack evidence of God's existence, you don't say, therefore, he's not real. You just simply say, I don't know. I need to investigate more.
If I have no evidence of something's existence, then I say it's not real.
Okay, so therefore, I've got no evidence that you got money in your wallet. So therefore, you've got no money in your wallet.
Yeah.
Do you see how illogical that is?
No.
Because you may have money in your wallet, whether I have evidence of it or not.
I am not being convinced of God's existence.
We're not trying to convince you of God's existence. The argument is you can't say he doesn't exist by the excuse of there's no evidence. Quite a conundrum for most people, considering most people are Christians, Muslims, Jewish, even Hindu, Buddhists. They all believe there's a greater power. And that's what I talk about. It's not some physical him, he, God, but a power, a source of life.
Even Trump said he's not a Christian.
Yep. Yeah, you don't have to be a Christian.
Yeah, but I mean, he's president or running for, and he's saying that. And that means there's a greater power, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody believes in that greater power, and he even gives, I'll have to pull it up, he even gives praise to it himself, even though he says he's not Christian. He gives praise to that greater power. So as soon as I find that, I'll pull that up and show everybody that too. So in the next one, we've got a pastor that calls a cop a tyrant. And you have to understand the cop's call was done and over with. He's going to his car. And then the pastor calls him a tyrant. So he escalates again. And again, this is one of those situations where sometimes it's better to just shut up and let him walk away and have that walk of shame.
Fortunately, the body cam shows the raw truth here, and that is that the officer is walking towards his police cruiser. He's about to get in it, and he stops immediately when he hears that word tyrant. And in response to that word, then he turns around and he goes to confront the pastor, and we see what happens.
You done yelling? You done yelling? Are you done yelling? Acting like a big shot? We're all set here. You can go inside. No, you go on. You're not going to tell me what to do. You can go inside. You're about to be arrested for disturbing the peace. You here, tyrant. Let's get out.
See how you're about to be arrested for disturbing the peace? See, that's one of those things they like to use, and you got to be careful. Just turn around and walk away.
Look at him. Look at this guy. Look at him. Hey. What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
And notice he pushed the one guy out of the way. That's assault. In order to get to the other guy. And pay attention to where he chased him. This is a pastor. They chased him into the church, folks.
Okay, so this officer came to a fork in the road. One of those forks was to open the door of his police car and to get in and go wherever he had intended to go. But he chose the other path, which was apparently to chase this church pastor into his church, like chasing him around the pulpit. But fortunately, the body cam shows the raw truth here.
So do you feel safe in your church, folks? Do you really feel safe anywhere anymore? With all these heroes protecting you? In your own insanity?
I'll tell you, I feel like I'm in court when I'm in church. I mean, look at the pews. They're the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Same old robotic movements every weekend. There you go. Sir Greg says feels safe as safe as a hospital. That's where you walk into the emergency room and they hand you a sales agreement, folks. Okay, so the next one is a comedic breakup. Like I said, caveat again, be careful watching too many of these videos and letting it play into your life. You have to watch these with apathy. You get involved in the empathy and sympathy side, and you too may become insane if you are not already. Beware. Caveat. So let's get some humor in.
This is the funniest comedian in the world. I'm telling you. Just wait.
Vaccine passport? Yeah, but I need proof of at least 10 booster shots. Okay, AIDS vaccine passport. I'm going to use an allergy test. Lyme disease. Chickenpox. H1N1. Rabies tag. Now I just got to check your white guilt score. 9.7. Wow, not bad, man. Just got to scan you for male toxicity. Would you have sex with a trans woman?
Yes.
Can men have babies?
Yes.
Do all lives matter?
Yeah, no.
I need proof of a black friend. Okay, how many pronouns are there?
92,627.
All right, put your mask on and show them your receipt.
I actually lost the receipt.
How are we supposed to give you your laundry if you don't have the receipt?
I think this is exactly how crazy and deranged that the left has become. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in control, that they would mandate a lot of these different things. In some form or fashion, they already do, to do basic things, like pick up your laundry.
So what do you think? You going to get the chip? Greetings, Stephen. How you doing tonight?
Hello, is this a titty stream?
This is the tits out and balls to the walls. Going
Tits
over the
out.
insanity.
Tits out and balls to the walls. Does Hank have his titties out? His tits out?
I don't know. He's down in chat. He's down in chat.
Who's above me there? That John guy.
That's John. That's a friend of mine. Comes up and helps discuss the platform of the insanity and law discussions, and has his own little input as well. How about you? Have you been watching?
I just tuned in. I got off another stream. Well, I got kicked off another stream.
Imagine that, huh? We're gonna do all right here tonight, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm
All
trying to rein it in here for your show.
All right. So what we're doing is, Steve, this is something I decided I'm going to start doing on a regular basis, because I've been doing it for a while. Is every now and then I go over the short videos and review them, and they're the insane shorts where we see all the insane people, the Karens and Kens, and all the police violence and shooting dogs and just general bullshit that the asylum presents to us. So we're just going through this stuff and getting commentary on what our interpersonal thoughts are about it. So feel free to expand. So we're going to look at the next one, and this next one is the civil rights lawyer. What did I bring him up for? Let me see here. Oh no, I already did a review on this one. Let's get on to the next one. The next one is how a bakery order goes wrong. A bakery order goes wrong. This is a caveat again, folks. Beware of what you're getting into in these business transactions. Small business owners, particularly, where you've got some kind of marketing scheme coming at you saying, "Hey, we'll promote you. We're going to help uptake your orders or whatever." So pay attention here.
Last week, she got an unusual online order for about 1,000 cupcakes. Stern says the person sent a check for just over $75.
And so this goes to anybody that's selling any kind of merchandise. Say you're selling T-shirts, hats, and whatnot for your social site or whatever. Be very wary of who you're dealing with.
$100 priority mail. She stopped by her bank for advice and says she was told that if the funds went through, it was a good check. And they did. But then the person who placed the order said they wanted to cut it in half and get half of the money back.
I responded and said, no, there's no way we can do that. We've already bought all the ingredients. We've already made the batter. My bank said, you'll be protected here, especially if you have an invoice.
But the next day, the funds were withdrawn from her account.
What the scammer did is they stole another company's checkbook.
Stern says she contacted the company listed on the check and was told she was the 15th person calling about the same scam. She's been able to sell some of the cupcakes her bakery made, but still has a lot left over.
It really made me feel disheartened about humanity. I wanted other business owners and maybe just people in general to be wary of scams.
Last week, she got an unusual
You guys ever found yourself in a situation like that?
No, I haven't. I've never ordered that many cupcakes or been scammed. I've never been scammed by these attempts, but you know, there's attempts, but it never works.
Yeah, I got involved in a situation years back when I was doing sales and marketing, and I had a contract coming up, and somehow this gal down in Iowa City connected up with me, and she showed interest in doing the contract with me. And the only way she would do it, of course, was through a joint account. And I'd never done anything like it before. I'd always been an independent contractor, and so I was just intrigued about the business part of it. And somehow she ended up writing some checks that overdrew the account, and I had to shut it down right away. So I had to redo the contract and everything. But, you know, you live and you learn. So anyway, caveat, if you're out there trying to get the bag, there's always going to be somebody else out there who's trying to get a bigger bag, and he's going to try to use you and your bag to get it. Caveat. Let's see what the next one is. This is in regards to getting back to nature and doing the job of the good Lord as a steward to the land. And I spoke about this in one of my recent videos about that land, agricultural land stewardship certificate as a end result as part of your remedy, so you can, do your diligent duty as a servant, child servant of the Creator, and that is to replenish that which you've used from the earth. And that's it. Simple, basic duty.
Been over 3 years now living full-time in my self-built van. And by living frugally and simply, I have been able to purchase my very own raw desert land. Now, upon purchasing this property, there was no water. It is completely undeveloped. So one of the first items on my list was to drill a well. And this became one of the most stressful weeks of my life. To drill a well, you must pay per foot. So regardless if you hit water or not, you're still paying a lot of money just for the chance of hitting water.
And this is a lesson in cost effectiveness too, when we're doing these kind of things. And I only applaud this well drilling thing, because that's one of the main premises of restoring Earth, replenishing Earth, is the bringing back watersheds. The Spirit of God moves upon the face of the waters, folks.
The first 3 days of drilling were slow and uneventful. At 520 feet, we only had a half a gallon a minute, which, while that is water, it's still a very poor well. Towards the end of day 3, we hit a little bit more water, and I was really happy with 3 gallons a minute. But then
3 gallons a minute, folks, that's a lot. That's pretty good water flow. That's better than you get in most houses. I think that's at least comparable anyway.
we hit so much water at 570 feet. I could not contain my excitement. I could not believe the amount of water that we hit. And I'm so grateful to have it. Has been.
And now she can produce that very watershed by creating certain plateaus and stuff like that, and catch pools and drainage areas to let it run off, and even dig her own little pond if she wants. It's amazing what we can do to replenish the earth, which is our true duty. Let's look at the next one. As a Dallas man shoots 2-year-old girl during a road rage incident. Back to the insanity, folks.
Dallas police arrested a 50-year-old man for shooting a 2-year-old little girl. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. Court documents reveal it may have been a case of road rage in an East Dallas neighborhood. Happened last night in this far East Dallas neighborhood. Police say a family on a DoorDash delivery turned onto the street where the alleged shooter was riding his motorcycle. They swerved to avoid hitting him and honked. Police say he then turned around, pulled a gun, and fired into their car. Fox 4's Amelia Jones spoke with witnesses, and she's live in Dallas tonight. Amelia.
What gets people so upset that they have to shoot someone because they honk a horn at them? It's amazing. I can't imagine that level of insanity.
I know. I don't know what. Like, people have honked their horn at me. I didn't kill them all. I didn't shoot them all. Just a couple here and there, but not all of them.
Sick.
Steve, the woman I spoke to said when police got to the scene, the accused shooter showed back up and asked her what happened, and then proceeded to make up a story about drug dealers in the neighborhood. She found out this morning that this was the man police arrested.
A 2-year-old girl is in the hospital recovering after she was shot in the back seat of her parents' car. The 2 loud pops forced Jessica Huseman out of her Far East Dallas home.
I got over to the car and it whipped around and then stopped next to me. And the mom, I assume, jumped out of the passenger side and said they shot my baby 2 times.
Huseman saw the little girl in the back seat covered in blood. She told the family to go straight to the hospital while she called 911. Soon, dozens of Dallas police squad cars swarmed Huseman Street.
The way that mom's voice sounded really just is all I can think about. And the way that little baby, she wasn't moving, she wasn't crying, and I really thought she was gone.
According to arrest documents, multiple witnesses told police around 8 p.m. on Sunday they saw a motorcycle with a sidecar that had a dog in it following a gray sedan. They say they saw the motorcyclist pull out a handgun and fire 2 shots. Police say witnesses identified the shooter as 50-year-old Jason Kane, who lives in the neighborhood. Before those witnesses identified him, police say Kane spoke to officers when they got to the scene. He told them that, quote, drug dealers that were involved in the shooting were down the street. This is the same story Huseman heard.
And he said, oh yeah, that was me on the motorcycle, but I don't think I saw anything. And then he told me that there were drug dealers that lived on the next street. And I think he was attempting to imply that they had done it.
Detectives interviewed the family. They said they were delivering a DoorDash order when they saw Kane driving without his lights on in the middle of the street. They swerved to avoid him, and the two honked at each other. They say Kane proceeded to follow the family's car around the neighborhood and shout at them.
No, I didn't assume that one of my neighbors had shot a baby.
The police documents detail that when officers arrested Kane at his home, he resisted at first, but ultimately complied. Police say they also obtained video evidence of the shooting. When police searched Kane's home, they found...
Did you see that? It says on the door, he's got a gun, Texas. We don't dial 911, we just shoot. See, that's the mentality already set. Which I don't really have a problem with that there. The problem I have is the reason for shooting. Because he honked at you? That's the insanity, folks. Come the fuck on.
And many satanic and Nazi symbols.
I hope that they do get the justice that they need, because that was horrific. That was really horrific.
Get a good look at him. Insanity or evil, or both. Not a care in the world. Blank stare. Look at that downturned mouth.
This is the mugshot of 50-year-old Jason Kane. We just received it into our newsroom. His bond has been set at $850,000. He's currently being held here at the Dallas County Jail. Kane is facing 1 count of injury to a child and 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Police told us that the 2-year-old girl is stable in the hospital, but we don't have any information on her condition tonight.
Oh my. So sad. So sad. Let's see. $1 trillion family that conquered banking. Let's take a look at that one.
The Rothschild family is one of the wealthiest on earth and surrounded by secrecy. We don't know the size of the Rothschild family fortune. It could be as low as $400 billion or as high as $20 trillion. The reason is that they've been a major power in banking for the last 2 centuries. The biggest increase in their fortune came during the Napoleonic Wars of the early 1800s. The family profited greatly by helping the British government manage its finances.
Remember the Louisiana Purchase? That was a large portion of the financing.
And with banking outposts in every major European country, they also built an unparalleled information network that rivaled nation states. The story goes that when Napoleon was beaten at the Battle of Waterloo, it was the Rothschilds in London that got the information before the British crown. As a result, they were able to consistently trade on
insider trading,
their information asymmetry, and build an unparalleled family fortune.
And this is what they operate through the UN. It's a program of economic warfare known as the Trading with the Enemy Act, with the United States as the New World Order. What do you guys think?
I think that most countries are corporate prisons.
Absolutely. I speak about that all the time with passports. If you have to have a passport to leave, doesn't that tell you that they're keeping you in the country? Are they allowed to do that? That's a
Yeah.
false premise.
But if you notice, Keith, they all have rectangular flags, except let's see, Switzerland and the Vatican City. Those are squares, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So they're telling you something there. Those are the only two free countries in the world.
Yep. Now the next one goes to that setting thine house in order again. And again, feel free to call me misogynist all you want, folks.
Silence in churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but should be subordinate, as even the law says.
Yep, in the previous chapter, Paul writes, when women pray and prophesy, they're to have their heads covered. Well, what are you, Paul, schizophrenic? You're telling women when you pray and prophesy, have your heads covered, and I don't let women talk. Now, you got to read in context. You don't just interpret any way. So when Paul says, when women are praying and prophesy, they're to have their heads covered, and I do not allow a woman to have to speak in public, what on earth is he talking about? Context is order in worship. What was happening? We'll just go out and watch the movie Yentl. Barbara Streisand plays a young Jewish girl who wants to get an education. And in her culture, women were not allowed to get an education. So she has to disguise herself as a male in order to go to school. So what happens? The gospel of Jesus Christ comes in. Women are just as valuable as men. And the women go nuts. They abuse their new freedom. And they start just blurting out all over the place. And Paul says, boom, time out. Keep your mouth shut. Go out and get an education. Learn like Priscilla has. And my good friend Priscilla, who's obviously not a guy, is helping me, the Apostle Paul, to teach the great preacher Apollos how to preach. Right?
And so, ladies, if you think you have the power to tell your man, oops, I've got to refresh real quick, guys. Something happened to my video. I'll be right back. Okay. So, ladies, if you think you have the power to tell your man what to do, what he can and can't do, and to run the day's business and this and that, I remind you again, it's about setting thine house in order. And the only reason you would be allowed to do that is because your man doesn't have the balls to set his house in order. So there is no order to the house.
They should do the dishes and make me a sandwich.
Damn right. Good sandwich. A good sandwich.
Yes.
To a degree. The reason for this, again, is not to put women in their place, but so that we can protect them. It makes our job more feasible and more reasonable and much more qualified. We can't protect, like in Job or in Jacob, 2 wives and 2 concubines and 13 children if they're all running around throughout all the fucking different neighborhoods. It's much easier to keep them in your house and teach them yourself. But no, we keep sending them out to the public education system, the medical societies, and all this other
indoctrination system.
Yep.
They just
You really
indoctrinate these kids.
You really don't belong there. It's not a matter of right. It's a matter of protection.
Yep. Yep.
So if you believe the news, watch this. Let's see what this one says.
You still believe the media isn't biased? Well, then watch this.
After Kamala copied Trump's no tax on tips policy, check out how CBS News reported the exact same proposal from 2 different candidates. Let me see if you can spot a difference here. Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers. Juxtaposed with the way they covered it when Trump said the same exact thing. Former President Donald Trump's vow to stop taxing tips would cost the federal government up to $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watchdog group. It's horrible.
You see what they did? They used the language on one side of the counter to be effective and well gotten and deserved and appraised and all that, because that's the class that you're cutting taxes for. And on the other one, the same tax cut They pose the other side, which is going to tear up the corporations and cost them hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars or whatnot. They're playing to two different peoples.
When Donald Trump proposes it, and yet when copycat Kamala does, it's the best thing we've ever seen.
So when the people see these headlines and they think they apply to them as corporations or the downfall from destroying corporations, it's all that two-party game that's two wings, two lies of the same fucking bird. You better understand this soon, folks. Now this one here, again, this is the insanity and the level it reaches isn't just the people. It's the people that pose that they have authority, like the police, such as judges even. So let's check out this judge.
Tonight with a judge who makes life-altering decisions for families and those with disabilities, now accused of making racist comments and using shocking, derogatory language. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us now with more about why an Oakland County probate judge has been removed from her docket. Heather?
Mike, a high-ranking probate court official says he's been recording Judge Kathleen Ryan's statements for years. Even though probate court administrator Edward Hutton says he's been harassed by Judge Ryan, he says he does not want this to be about him. Hutton says he's coming forward now because he wants to protect the people who have to face Judge Ryan in the courtroom.
The Honorable Kathleen A. Ryan presiding.
Good morning. You may be seated.
After more than 13 years on the bench, Oakland County...
13 years on the bench. So let's talk about that first because it's just now coming out. But how deeply seated is this in her 13 years on the bench? This is why I question these officers that are serving, 15, 20, 10 years, or even 3 years, and they're still on their force, even despite their records. So all the people that this judge has put before all the people that have been brought before this judge in these courts, and she's sentenced and convicted, I would question every last one of them, knowing that here she's showing a definite bias.
Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge Kathleen Ryan is out of her courtroom. Chief Probate Judge Linda Hallmark removed Judge Ryan from her docket last week, announcing that a complaint about internal allegations of unprofessional conduct was sent to the Judicial Tenure Commission. Judge Ryan was arrested in 2021 for domestic violence, but those charges...
So understand, folks, like I've said many times, you don't sue these people in courts. You're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere flinging shit at a wall, hoping something will stick. They're telling you right here, you want these people ousted from the bench, you make a judicial complaint to the Judicial Tenure Committee of your state. Okay? You go to the head of the agency. The law says this. And the first duty of law is to give legal notice. And to give legal notice, you have to give it to the proper authority. That's the head of the agency. Their bosses.
Charges were later dismissed, and now she's back in the headlines.
Well, if you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of...
The 7 investigators have obtained the recordings that county officials say prompted Judge Ryan's removal.
Oh, he's just I have no use for him.
She's made it a living hell in the past 6 years. I mean, it's been terrible. It's cost me relationships. I think it's affected my health. Can't sleep.
Attorney Edward Hutton is the Oakland County Probate Court Administrator. He's in charge of running everything that's not under the judge's purview inside one of the state's largest probate courts. Hutton alleges Judge Ryan has been calling him both during work and after hours for years. And Hutton says during those hours and hours of calls, Judge Ryan said highly inappropriate things.
Why did you start recording the calls?
I just felt like it wasn't going to change. Nothing's manipulated in it. It's conversations that I was a part of, and I'm absolutely willing to testify to the authenticity of it.
Then nothing's going to change. So is it that she's a new racist, or that she's just now newly admitting that she's a racist? Because like this guy's explaining, he's been working with her for years, and he's had complaints for a number of reasons. So it's not just a racial aspect either. It's that power and control, folks. And they will do anything to get it over anybody they need to.
Every single one of them.
I can honestly say that. Okay, I'm not systemically racist. I'm a new racist.
I'm not systemically racist. I'm a new racist. Racist is racist is racist is racist. You dumb cunt. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? I'm sorry. No, I'm not. This is tits out and balls to the wall, folks. This is insane.
I never was, but now I am because you're shoving the down my throat and making it.
Because you're shoving this shit down my throat.
Allegations that you don't know about.
And making allegations you don't know shit about. So he's making allegations, so that's why you're racist. Someone makes allegations, so you become racist. You see the idiocy, folks?
Yeah, it's too sensitive, Keith.
This woman was racist all along.
Yeah, well, that comes from their childhood too. I mean, it's like I grew up to think that black people were degenerate or something, but I found out it was just totally wrong. You know, it's not always their fault.
Well, and what's their fault anyway? I like you said, I grew up with colored people here and there, and I never saw them any different.
No, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not, but it's someone's just indoctrinating us. The media, our parents. I don't know.
Yeah, parents, teacher, media, everybody that's delusional to begin with. That's what's becoming systemic, and it's not new.
You're telling me who I am, and you've never met me. You. You.
Hutton says the judge also used homophobic slurs about other elected officials.
You know.
So not only racist, but homophobic too, huh? See, this isn't new, folks. It is systemic.
And that's not all.
A lot of times they were conversations about sexual encounters that she's having with various individuals. I mean, in intimate detail.
Hutton says for years he felt like he had to play along, and he said,
So she belongs to the streets too, huh? This is intriguing, isn't it? See, these are the whores of Babylon. This is why they're in it. What was it back in the 80s? Sex, lies, and videotapes?
Says for years he was afraid to speak up.
I didn't want to lose my job, and I didn't want to be in her crosshairs. It's such a David and Goliath situation. I don't have the power. I'm not elected. I could get fired tomorrow.
On May 24th, Hutton says he sent Chief Judge Linda Hallmark a notice of sexual harassment.
For 3 months, nothing happened.
That's why on August 22nd, Hutton says he decided to send the recordings to the Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court, Oakland County Executive David Coulter, and other public officials. And he also contacted me.
I just want to make it right. I haven't filed a lawsuit. I'm not looking for a payday. I want to keep my job and do it in peace. And I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of fact.
In that email, Hutton said Judge...
Yes, an unbiased trier of facts. And she clearly is not unbiased. She is very biased in multiple ways.
Judge Ryan, quote, has vocalized her hate and contempt for various protected groups. Once the recordings were shared with those state and county officials, Judge Ryan was removed from her docket. In a statement, County Executive Coulter said, quote, "There is absolutely no place for harassment of any kind or for racist or homophobic language by anyone at Oakland County, especially by someone the public must be confident will act fairly and impartially. The alleged conduct and abhorrent comments made by Judge Ryan merited her removal from the probate court docket pending further investigation."
And that's what I was talking about earlier. Pending further investigation, I would go into this woman's entire record and start doing extensive investigation into these people that she's sentenced and convicted to anything.
Is Judge Ryan fit to be on the bench?
Absolutely not. Nobody with that much hate in their heart for certain people or certain groups of people, I don't believe that they could possibly make fair, unbiased decisions regarding them.
I did reach out to Judge Kathleen Ryan to talk to her about this. Her attorneys sent me this statement that says, quote, "We respect the authority of the Michigan Supreme Court. However, we look forward to vindicating Judge Ryan in the appropriate forum."
Vindicating Judge Ryan, first and foremost, in the appropriate forum. The public is the appropriate forum. You don't vindicate somebody from that. You don't give them excuses. They admit their guilt, repent, and request forgiveness. That's the appropriate forum.
I also spoke to probate judge Daniel O'Brien.
In my opinion, of course. But remember, folks, this is tits out and balls to the wall. We don't give a fuck about your opinion.
Says Judge Ryan's friends are supporting her and believe these statements are totally out of character for her.
All right, certainly a lot here, but what's next with the Judicial Tenure Commission?
Well, they cannot confirm or deny whether they are pursuing an investigation. There has been some reporting that suggested that the complaint against the judge involved an inappropriate personal relationship. Hutton says that is not true. He says there was no physical contact. This was strictly a sexual harassment complaint about her alleged comments that started all of this. But again, he says the bigger issue here is what the judge says about people in protected classes, and he's hoping that that is what the JTC will focus on. So everybody's just sort of waiting to see what they will do.
And it sounds like this is...
Yeah, so it's not in particular to him himself. Like he said, he wants it to stop, of course, but this is multifaceted, racist, homophobic, and otherwise. So, you got anything on it, John?
Yeah, I mean, anything with phobia means there's something wrong with the person. I mean, we're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to be a community here. I mean, we have differences, but that doesn't mean you hate people.
Right.
You know, Keith?
Right, and that's what Dean's talking about here. It says the bigger issue being missed as usual is that the people have no business in these administrative courts. And that's absolutely correct. If you don't understand how this corporate government works, and that those courts are designed for Article 1 corporate activities, and the only court you should be in is a court of equity or a court of common law, which is a Article 3 court for actual crimes. Everything else is financial, and that's a debtor's prison. That's a debtor system, and you become an indoctrinated slave into that. And that's the problem. United States citizen means a United States business. United States business means a United States citizen. Therefore, a United States citizen means a United States business. Keep calling yourself a United States business, folks.
It's Dred Scott for all of us.
Yep.
Especially if we're attached to a corporation. Right, Keith?
Well, yeah, and that's that identification, folks. All right, I'm going to take a quick break and be right back. Enjoy the commercial. Hit those buttons, folks, and go grab popcorn or a drink or something. Okay, and welcome back. All right, let's get on to the next one. We've got one, France's biggest loss of 2024. Check this out, guys.
Government, I would be very mad at myself and at this 17-year-old girl. Kélia Nemours is a French gymnast, and her whole life she had trained in a small French town called Avouan with her local coaches. She was one of the best gymnasts in all of Europe. Unfortunately,
We were talking about them passports and everything before, right? Nationality and this and that. You know how I'm all about that birth certificate and its conference of nationality and how it's all just bullshit. This is a play of the game from this girl that just blew them all away. Pay attention. So she's training up to be this gymnast in Europe.
Unfortunately, politics got involved. The French Gymnastics Federation passed new laws which would have forced her to start training in Paris under new Team France coaches. Kélia didn't want to do that as she liked her coaches, and she didn't want to move away from her parents. But the French government was like, if you want to compete for us, you do what we say when we say it. So Kélia used her father's roots to get Algerian citizenship.
You understand the right to claim a birthright?
Well, yeah. I mean, do we have to claim it though? I mean, it shouldn't already be inherited that we're from Mother
Well, yeah,
Earth.
that's what I'm talking about. You're an American citizen, or you're German or Scottish, according to your birthright. I'm German and Scottish. So, am I American? Well, my mom was German or Scottish, and my dad was German. I want to go back to my homeland. What are they going to do? They can't deny your birthright, which is your homeland. America is not my homeland. The birthright is. It destroys
Right, then it's if they assume, Keith, that we're born in the United States, how could that be? It's first of all, that's fiction, right?
Exactly.
And then two, it says there's no national registry. So how did they get away with that?
Yeah. It's the indoctrination. People just believe. Yeah, the names and arms clause. People think they have a right to bear arms, and I keep trying to tell them what you truly have a right to is your right to armorial bearings, and that's your coat of arms with your family crest. Simple. Absolutely, Jesse. Good to see you, brother. And let's finish this up, because what happens? What happens?
They didn't make her leave her hometown nor her coaches. And a few days ago, she competed at the Olympics for Algeria in the uneven bars gymnastics events, which took place in Paris, the same city that the French government wanted her to move to. She went there and left with the gold medal as an Algerian. Getting the gold medal in the capital city of the same country that tried to stop you had to have felt good.
They effectively gave up the gold. They gave it up in their greed, saying, no, you'll train the way we want and where we want. I said, no, I won't. And then had the Olympics in Paris, and she took the gold and walked right out the door with it. This is the insanity of their greed. They think they can have power and control over people. And I'm telling you, folks, equity, it's an amazing thing. It's your ability to create your own remedy. All you have to do is understand how things work. Arizona resident arrested for criticizing an official. See, this is their butthurt realm. And the very people that are obligated to the very body of people that they are providing a public service to, the beneficiaries, the obligees, they're the ones they're violating.
You're violating my First Amendment rights.
I have certain inalienable rights, and they were not only trampled on, but the mayor essentially weaponized the police force to shut me up.
And this has got to stop, folks. This has got to stop. See, the mayor here, I spoke on this about their corporate interests and understanding the concept that it depends on the very people that they're taking advantage of for a mere dollar. And that's just turning everybody into Hitler's willing executioners. And if you think that people are going to keep taking that, you're wrong. It's going to stop.
Request. I've got to interrupt. There are oral communications during the city council meeting may not be used to lodge charges or complaints against any employee.
Yeah, your city council writings, your underwritings can't obliterate the overall writing that it's subject to, the Constitution. You take an oath to the Constitution. You cannot obliterate the Constitution and what's in there and pose that your little ordained policy for your municipal administration has a squat to do with anybody but you and your employees, officers, and agents.
Of the city. This is your warning.
A warning for what?
A warning for attacking the city attorney personally. This is what you agreed to when you first speaking. This is the form.
It is unconstitutional, Mayor Hall.
Well,
it is unconstitutional, Mayor Hall. And then his first word is well.
It's not unconstitutional.
It is.
Chief.
It's not unconstitutional. No, sir, it is. It's unconstitutional. It's been ruled unconstitutional, and you cannot use your own discernment to violate the Constitution under your administration. This is the same thing with the Chevron doctrine that was overturned here last month or so. The administrative policy enforcers do not have any degree of discernment of interpretation of what is already set. They must follow and abide by those terms. They cannot just say, well, they're up for debate. I discern that it's not a constitutional violation. It is. Very clear and succinct. Shall not be infringed.
Could you have somebody come down here and escort Ms. Massey?
Really? Is that necessary? I'm expressing my do not touch me.
This is communism. Straight up communism.
Do not put your hands on me.
I'm out with you now.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Why?
No, you've already arrested her. You're in the process of physically assaulting this woman for no lawful reason, nor any legal reason. The only reason is because the mayor got butthurt. This is fucking pathetic.
I'm being detained under what charges?
And Keith, no one's
you want to be escorted out
to make legal determinations.
Right. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. They're under their administration. They're making legal determinations by discerning that it is constitutional to restrict your freedom of speech. No, it's not. It is not. It's not unconstitutional if she agreed to the contract by receiving a benefit and privilege. And this is the part about the license and ID. Okay, those are considered such things. That's why I say that resident determination. The mayor is the principal over the resident. The resident is deemed an agent, an officer or agent of the federal, state, or municipal. No person shall reside within the zone except federal, state, or municipal officers or agents whose resident presence is deemed necessary by the board. It never happened, folks. You've been making false claims. I was a bitch-ass slave. I was a fucking fool for many years. I found out I was making the false claim of a resident, a United States citizen. Can't do it anymore. Greetings, JD. How you doing tonight?
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
Thanks, dude. How are you?
Good, good. Just going over some more of the insanity. You've been watching for a bit?
I saw that, yeah.
What do you think in your mind so far of this First Amendment clip here?
I mean, for me, I think we spoke about this last time, but for me, I believe that we do not. I believe that I'll say it better. I believe that right now, in our current climate, the state of emergency circumvents a lot of the privileges, let's just say, that the person has, privileges that even the I guess we'd say the person, the 14th Amendment citizen, the 5th Amendment citizen, 5th Amendment, 14th Amendment, those privileges are circumvented. The writ of habeas corpus gone. The grand jury indictment gone. That means that the same
Oops, we lost you, JD. All right. Well, we'll get back to him. We lost you, JD. We lost your mic. McNemesis, I'm not going to let you up. So let's go to the next one. It says another one, scammer exposed. And I love exposing scammers.
Are you going to address the scamming accusations?
This is just what they're telling me, that you said, quote.
This is from the Whatever podcast. This is a great one. Pay attention. And this is a young woman. Young whore. She belongs to the streets.
I know guys when they're lonely and when they don't have a good family situation, they're vulnerable. So I just know what kind of people to target. I'll ask them how's life and let them open up. And when they open up, that's when I know that I can take something from them.
Understand, folks, this is the majority, and it's not just women. Men are playing the same game. They're looking for vulnerable people that they can take things from. Because they're weak and can't acquire things on their own. They can't set their own house in order. They don't know the stability and the ranks thereof of being a woman. They want to escape the definition of a woman, and the guys want to escape the definition of a man. And so we have this psychopathy before us today of total lunacy and insanity.
Being recorded, I guess this is you, admitted to scamming at least 7 men, including one with a disability. No. And one allegedly gave her his life savings of more than $30,000 after she said she had a growth in her kidney.
No, it's not true.
Well, there's a recording of it, apparently.
But that was from like 3 years ago.
It's not true. We find out it is true. And it wasn't 30 years ago. It's from like 3 years ago. So she admits it and is going to play it off as if though it doesn't matter. It was 3 years ago.
I was just in a very bad place.
Wait, so it's not true, or it happened 3 years ago?
I was just going through a mental breakdown. I was going through a lot of things in life, which is why after that I went for therapy, and I'm in a better place now.
What would you say to an audio recording?
She's in a better place now, huh? On the Whatever podcast, giving it all up.
Recording of, I know guys when they're lonely, they're very vulnerable. So I just know what kind of people to target. How could I misconstrue that exactly?
Kiara.
Yeah. How do you misconstrue that? I know what kind of guys to target. Okay, we got JD back. And we got Iman. Mac, I'm not going to let you up. I don't know why you come out...
I'm gonna lose power. I gotta go power up, Keith. So I'm gonna jump back. Okay.
All right, we'll be here. Mac, show yourself on camera. Make sure to show me you're not the McNemesis. Okay, you're not McNemesis. Thank you. What's going on, brother? Hello, Mac.
Who's McNemesis? I'm curious to know.
Just somebody who wants to come up and cause chaos.
Okay. I know a few of those.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can, Mac.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay.
Correct. So what's going on? How long you been watching? You got anything to say so far?
No, nothing good. Just
nothing
fast
good?
Yeah.
We just came from JD's list. We just jumped
Oh,
over
I've
here.
been watching it for a while, Wizard.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. You know this is tits out, balls to the wall. You're welcome to say anything you want.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
I mean, to a degree, anyway. So let's get on to the next one. This is straight from the horse's mouth, folks.
I'll just let Kamala tell you, straight from her own mouth.
And to Indian Americans all across the United States, I want to wish you a happy Indian Independence Day. On August 15th, 1947, men and women all over India rejoiced in the declaration of the independence of the country of India.
She was black.
Today, on August 15th, 2020, I stand before you as the first candidate for Vice President of the United States of South Asian descent. So I
Notice she didn't. Well, notice back then she didn't claim her quote black descent. She just claimed the South Asian descent. See, now she wants to profess black descent. Now, that kind of presents this conundrum, like I just mentioned earlier. You know, if I was going to go to my homeland and profess both of them, German and Scottish, I don't profess that I'm American. I don't profess that I'm United States. I profess that my mom and dad were children that were born from immigrants that came from Germany and Scotland.
Yep. And I just say my dad's from Africa, so I'm half black from the waist down.
There you go. That's the best half to be black, huh?
Hey.
I hope you celebrate today, and then tomorrow, I hope you join me in getting to work. Thank you.
So pathetic. So pathetic.
And she might win too.
Unlikely, very unlikely. But I'm not going to get into it because I don't go by the political views. I don't care who wins. They're both. Neither one of them is really good for you because that just admits that you're still willing to live in the cognitive disillusion of being a citizen or a resident or this or that, and it goes really deep, folks. There's a lot to it, and that's what people don't want to give up. It means they've got to give up so much. It means they've got to change so much. Learn so much. That's too much.
No, it's hard. It's much more difficult because we're so used to being, not spoiled, I would say, but just life is just, you were so used to what we're used to. Driver's license, you build this credit that you build, and all that crap, And you said, like you said, easy.
Yeah, it's a track record that we get to build to show that we have a nice, smooth road ahead of us, but we never really know because that's why we have to have insurance. Something might happen.
They can pull it from you. They can pull a rug right out of you, right up from under you, at any time.
Yep, living in the fear of the future. So let's look at the next one, where you got equal rights but not equal responsibilities, folks.
Can I respect you as a man if you don't want to get up and fight the war?
Can I respect you as a woman who will vote to send people off to a war, but still wants to vote? Well, not
Because one, that's
respectable
my
at all.
right, and two, I have the ability and the right to give children, to give life, to add to this population. Can men do that? No.
Yes, you need men's genetic material to create life. It's not unilateral.
but it's
You
through
don't
pleasure.
just whimsically come up with a child in your brain and you're pregnant. It requires male genetic material called sperm. After the sperm is injected inside of your womb, then the egg is fertilized, then there's life. And this is not unilateral. It's totally and completely irresponsible for women to say, I demand the right to vote so that I have a say-so, when you could vote in politicians who send in people to wars, which you then will not have to fight. It's monstrous to make the claim that a section of society who claims that they are equal and free can then use a different subset of society to go fight their wars on their behalf.
Andrew just cooked.
In other words, like I said earlier, you can't sit there and try to tell me that I don't have any say on women's rights, whether it be voting rights, abortion rights, or anything as a man. Because the subset foundation of bearing children in a woman is that you must first receive a seed from the man. Therefore, if I have the intent to bring in a good child and bring him up in the ways of the Lord so he shall not waver, and I want a woman that will follow through with that, carry through with that, do her part in that, and help me set that house in order, that's what I did. That's what I command. And when we accept less, that's why we end up with this kind of shit. It's the men's fault. So call me a misogynist again. I love it. I love proving you wrong. So, let's see what this millennial chick thinks is happiness.
Her 30s details exactly what her life is like on the weekends, and to our shock,
she's cute.
You're going to find out that it includes corporate consumerism, alcoholism, and being an adult child.
This is what your Saturday looks like as a single in her 30s girl with no children. I woke up at 10:15, hungover.
Oh no.
Timed like 6 people. Took my pup on a walk. Got some coffee. A little
So
lab.
LA.
New Starbucks. Spring
What did you say, 2 LA?
So LA.
So LA.
Ugh.
So LA, yeah.
line.
Oh boy, I gotta tell you, that sounds awful.
Now I'm walking to my friends to go to Beer Olympics for the afternoon. Then we're going to come back to her place, get changed, get ready to go to country night, do some line dancing to some live music. Brought the pup because, again, who knows where the night's going to take us, because I have no responsibilities and no dependents besides the pup.
And that sounds pathetic.
No reason to have kids if
Exactly. No responsibilities, no dependents. That makes life all fun and happy. See, life isn't supposed to be fun and happy, folks. Moms and dads both. This isn't just about women. It's about the test that we put ourselves through. Doing things that many times we know better. Go ahead, brother.
Good point, man. Good point.
Very good point.
Yeah, like I said, I was the bitch ass slave. I was the fucking fool myself. I've been there, done that. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm doing my best to show you the things that I see, and hope we can come to an agreement that something's wrong, and as sure as hell isn't me or you. If it is you, then maybe look in the glass, the man in the glass. That's whose opinion really counts. And when you do that, you do that introspective, looking inwards and seeing who you really are, and you find that you aren't the good man you thought you were, that's the one that you change. You're not going to have any effect changing other people out here. They're going to be who they are.
Yep.
So the next one, Donald Trump asked to address his comments on Kamala Harris's racial situation.
Question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and
I don't. Immediate response. I don't. This is what they're doing, is they're trying to force this kind of shit down his throat and make it, and try to force him to say something on the racial comments. He doesn't have anything to say about the racial comments. Why are you forcing it down the throat? My first point.
I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words. So I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay.
So he wasn't pointing out the racial thing. He was pointing out the disparaging lie. One time she says she's not, another time she says she is. Which is it?
One was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
attempted to use race to divide the American
But
people.
yeah, where'd the origin of race come from? Where'd it start? It definitely wasn't Donald Trump.
Yeah, and not only that, but I don't think it was ever about race with him. I don't think
No.
anybody during his entire thing made anything about race. It was Biden. If you ain't
Yep.
black, or you ain't black if you don't vote for me. That was Biden. Why is anybody making a stick of that?
You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates.
I want to ask
Yeah, and again, you're pushing it down his throat as if though he made some kind of racial disparagement. He didn't. He made the distinction that you were lying. This is too funny. Now we got Andrew shutting down a misandrist. You know, I say you guys can call me a misogynist all you want. So it's the women that don't like men, quote, hate men. Those are misandrists. So let's look at that side.
Clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean,
Any thoughts, Andrew, on that clip?
I disavow.
Yeah, I disavow too. Men are useless, huh? Men are useless. The woman that has the
She
balls.
wouldn't say that to our face.
Exactly.
I hate every one of those women there. I hate every one of those women. They should burn them like
Go,
witches.
yeah, go up to your husband and tell your husband that he's useless. And then while you're sitting there saying that men are useless, I want to ask you, are you married? And if you tell me no and you're single, I'm gonna. And if you tell me no and you're single, and I'm gonna ask you, well, are you dating or looking forward to getting married? And 99.99% they're gonna say yes. So the insanity of it to begin with is just off the scales. Go ahead,
I
brother.
hate those ladies. I hate them with a passion. I hate those ladies on the morning show. Joy Behar. Ugh, I hate them all. And I hate the tough word, but I do. They make me like my blood boils when I see them. It's terrible that I say that, but I don't know, something about those people. They just make me so upset. Those women.
Well, I don't. Like I tell people at the end of my streams, I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back or not. I don't hate anybody. I love you. What I hate is the things that we say and do to each other. Those are the things I hate. I don't hate the people. Okay?
Yeah, I hear that, but they're mean. Those are mean. Those are mean-spirited women. You know, they're mean.
Yeah, yep. So let's finish out and see what he says. I disavow. I do too.
Completely the view. I'm sorry that all of you had to be subjected to that. That's awful. That's pretty horrific. To the topic at hand, yeah, of course, women need men. There's quite a delusional take going around that they don't. But men are the ones who keep all infrastructure going. Without men, women would be unable to exist. If you were to take all men out tomorrow, most of the women on planet Earth would essentially die out probably within the first year or two. But if you were to do it in reverse, hypothetically, men would probably be just fine, live into their old age. And I mean, that would be the end of the human race, but men would probably be okay.
So there's this.
In other words, men would be able to live out the extent of their life, whereas women would die of famine and this and that early. At least that's what it's posed. I'm not going to agree with that because it's never been done. But just so you get the point, ladies, that's just a delusional claim. Let's see what Andrew tries to argue with her. Another Andrew clip.
To be logically consistent, you would stay trapped with a bear in the middle.
And my views don't always assemble with Andrew or Brian. Some do, some don't. Oh my. Mac, you've got something feeding back for me. Got another device on or something? Shut her down or something? Otherwise, I muted you for the moment.
I think you're okay.
Okay, so let's continue on.
middle of a forest rather than asking a man who you did not know for help to get you out of the situation.
Yeah.
And does that sound like that's rational either?
But it's not a rational situation. It's not a rational scenario.
It is a
It's
rational
hypothesis.
It's not a rational situation, not a rational scenario. The fuck it isn't. People end up in the woods with a bear all the time. People end up in the woods with a fucking man all the time. You can't just shut shit out to try to explain away your delusion, folks.
This is, but sure.
In fact, I can give you one such situation where something similar to this happened, absent a bear. There was a woman, her plane went down over the Amazon rainforest, and she was wounded badly. Following the water for 5 days, thought she was going to die. And guess who she asked for help?
Oh, was it a
There
man?
were 2 men. And of course, they didn't trap her and SA her. These Amazonians, they went and got her help after they patched her up, of course, and got her out of there.
Yeah, these savages. You know, these men, they're savages. Come the fuck on. Not only is it delusional to say you don't need us, you motherfucking depend on us.
She made a full recovery. It's quite an amazing story. It does happen. Such things do actually happen. So it's not really an irrational scenario.
I think that was a beautiful story, and that's very nice. Very glad that that happened to her. But I would probably hide. I'd just be scared in general.
Yeah, and you would die. That's your fear. That's your fear, ladies. Anything on that, guys? Looks like we lost Jesse again.
Yeah, brother. Where are these women coming from? I mean,
I have no idea, sister. This is amazing to me.
and then even when I ask you that, I have to think, where are some of the men coming from? Because it's just like their mindset is like,
Well, most men's mindset is Balchinian.
because I heard some of the comments on, some of the other shorts that you have, some of the comments, it's like like the one with the judge and the woman, it was like, and no telling, most of these people that sit the bench, even the woman, it's like, what makes you think because you signed, or you've taken an oath, but you put signature on paper to accept a position, to uphold a position, knowing that they asked you specific questions what in the contract that you have to uphold, but then you sit and say it's unconstitutional, or it's constitutional just because you want to what is that saying again, make legal determinations for opinion's sake?
Correct.
Where is this coming from?
Yeah, it's amazing that these people think they have that much control. But again, what the most amazing part is that the people have continued to allow it enough that it's gotten to this point. This is just outrageous. So let's continue on with the next one. We've got a woke counselor gets caught lying about racism.
This woke counselor get called out for lying about racism in the fire department.
I think you was in agreement that your force was institutionally racist. Is that correct?
I agreed with the report, the independent report, and so did the chief fire officer accept the findings.
Okay, so could you please tell me, councillor, what unfair advantages white people have in your force?
Institutionally racist. So what white privileges do they have on the force?
I would hope none. Not advantages. Did I hear you?
Yeah, do they have any advantages?
No.
So
then how can there be institutional racism? If there's no advantages for white privileged workers, then where is the racism?
Can you be institutionally racist?
Sorry, I might have to get back to you.
No, you
no.
don't. You've said your force is institutionally racist, yet white people
Misogynist.
yet white people have no advantage at all.
Yes.
So how can it be racist?
Misogynist. Okay.
Maybe I was interpreting the phrase a little bit as a whole, as a phrase that is
liberal. Watch this.
Yep. Very liberal. Construing it as a whole. No. You said institutionally racist, and then said they had no advantage for white privileged workers. These people think that what they say from minute to minute counts just because they said it. This is your diversity, equity, and inclusion, folks. This is a good one. He doesn't even know it's already legal.
Shop that my dad works in, that he is too afraid to ask for a raise because he knows he'll get told no. And what does he do at that point? Does he stay in a job that says you're not worth anymore? What I say is that folks
listen up.
like that should get together with their other employees.
They are a lot. You do realize we have a right to unionize, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then what are you fighting for, man? Because
people unionizing.
That's legal under the National Labor
Yes.
Relations Board law. So it seems like you're cool with like the laws, man. Okay,
Because
so
socialism at its base is the workers control their work. They democratically run their.
So now he's showing his socialist attitude towards being able to unionize for labor. Okay. See, he's pushing a social agenda and using something that's legal already to try to say that he's not allowed to unionize like that. No, you're not allowed to unionize as a socialist communist in a federal democracy. But you can create a labor union for a workforce, not a political body, dumbass.
Can you give me an example of where that's worked?
Well, seeing as
Yeah,
U.S.
Argentina,
influence.
Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea,
Communist countries.
Spain, France, Portugal, Italy, Spain, Greece. They're all bankrupt countries. It's worked really well. Where?
So I'm trying to get my.
Where does it work, my friend?
So I couldn't give you one of those.
Oh,
because,
okay. Because socialism doesn't work.
Because socialism doesn't work. No, it doesn't, folks. It does not work. It's proven time and time and time again, even in modern times. Okay? It does not work. So, man comes to court high and judge is speechless. Yeah, this is insane level addiction. I actually kind of feel bad for this guy, but it is what it is. Tits out and balls to the wall, man. You wanted to party.
Requesting an adjournment, Mr. Beach. I'm providing Mr. Beach a copy with Discovery today. He wants to review it all before next.
Before I adjourn it, Mr. Beach, you had any controlled substance today? Mr. Allen? No, you've had nothing. So if I give you a test, you'll come back clean? Well, this card right here tells me at your community corrections that I can smoke marijuana and I paid money for it. State of Michigan. Say right here, regulatory cannabis. I paid money, taxes. I should be able to medicate. I just had lower back surgery 2 years ago, St. Joe Hospital. They said either use prescription drugs or use what the state of Michigan provides you, the taxpayers. Okay.
Your Honor, we're requesting an adjournment, Mr.
Okay. I really don't see any problem with that, actually. They're legalizing it, right? I mean, doctor prescribed. That old Judge Greer or whatever his name is, they're befuddled. Okay. So the next one is come outside and prove your innocence. Another insane directive by police officers that says, well, if you come outside, you can prove your innocence. So that means that you're saying I'm guilty and I have to prove my innocence. Okay?
Pointing a gun at someone, so step outside. Step outside right now, Ryan. So you to give us your side of the story. Wait, you're being a little confrontational for no reason right now. We just wanted to talk to you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said because you interrupted me. Yeah. He's definitely going to definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's no do like a flashlight. Well, he can't have a hurt. He can't, or he is not a person. Oh no, I know that.
She just admitted they don't have anything to go off on that they can charge, right? And then she says, I mean, I'm going to charge something if we don't. I'm going to charge something if we don't.
I'm gonna charge something.
As if the statement, you can prove your innocence, wasn't enough of a sign that these officers have a backwards understanding of the law. The officers have now admitted that they have no evidence that...
It's either that or a flashlight. Still don't have enough to go off of to charge.
Ryan committed the crime he is accused of, but still conspire to charge him with something. This is exactly why you should always film and limit your interactions with law enforcement as often as possible.
Because you pointed a gun at someone, so step.
Because you pointed a gun at someone, so step outside. No, you do your investigation. If you've got somebody who says I pointed a gun at them, they have to be able to provide you evidence so that you can then present a case to the grand jury and come arrest me under a warrant. Fuck off my doorstep. What do you guys think?
Shit. Well, it basically stands to reason that they have to have certain procedures that they're unaware of. If they don't know the procedures that they're supposed to be following.
Well, no, these people should know this procedure very simple. It's just like I stated.
Well, to them, they think they know what they're doing, but for ignorance of the law, it's based on them. They don't know what they're doing.
Right. That's why I say they give too much of a wide range for discernment amongst these officers to do at will, and then we'll just cover your ass in court. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. So the next one we got, suspect records fatal shooting, claims self-defense.
They trying to get out the car.
4 shots, 1 woman dead, another injured, and the woman recording in jail. This was the crime scene on the early morning of July 12th. Fletcher says these were the moments leading up to the shooting.
You're going to jail. I don't give a.
The woman in pink is 29-year-old Naima Norton.
She's slashing my tires.
Fletcher was recording when she allegedly shot Norton and another woman also seen in the video. Norton died 6 weeks later. The fatal confrontation playing out on Fletcher's phone.
Going to jail. Hit me again. Hit me again. Hit me again.
In her Facebook post, Fletcher.
Yeah, bust her window, slashed her tires, reaching into a car, hitting her. I think this is justified.
Fletcher claims she was being, quote, attacked by Norton. At one point, Norton appears to be holding a knife and then a rock. It ends with...
Says she even called 911 and asked for help twice.
Gunshots and Norton on the ground.
I have a gun in my purse.
Amazing shit. Amazing shit. Toxic feminist gets owned. Another whatever podcast clip.
makes a bad decision in his life, he takes responsibility, whatever that is. You should not raise and judge whenever a person doesn't ask you.
Let's say you had a daughter and she's just getting ran through. I'm talking 2-3 new guys a week. She slept with 30 dudes.
Person has to understand and go through the process.
You wouldn't tell her to stop being a whore.
I don't believe in shaming at all, especially when it comes to your kids, but my daughter represents me. I'm not going to call her a whore, but I'm definitely going to have a conversation with her because she's not going to be out here in these streets looking ran through like most of these modern day women. Sorry. I need class in my life and my family.
Absolutely. And that's, again, the thing about setting thine house in order. You want to raise up good children, male and female. They need to be instructed by mom and dad, not shamed, but instructed. I don't think moms and dads really shame their children too much. I think that comes from other people in the school system, particularly with that humongous centralization of all these little kids with all these different backgrounds, cultures, dichotomies, and then trying to be trained in a military education center through indoctrinated teachers. It's a sickening process. But this is what we get. We get discussions like this.
My daughters, I'm sorry.
But she's not a property.
She's my daughter.
She's your daughter. She's not your property.
And I want her to be okay. And at the end of the day, girls who get ran through, I see them all over line complaining and crying how they're unfulfilled.
Girls that get ran through every day, all day, become somebody else's property because you give up on them as your daughters.
Men don't love them and they're used and abused. I don't want that for my daughter. I want her to feel valuable and worth something. And she's gonna go, if she goes down that path, she's gonna feel just like all these girls complaining and boo-hooing on this internet. I'm good. I need a queen, baby.
Absolutely. Same with the sons. We need kings and queens. The only way we're going to be able to do that is to do it ourselves. We have to quit putting that on somebody else and saying it's their responsibility. We need to take that responsibility back. Here's a good one in relation to your servitude to this fiat currency and this false patriarch and its money laundering system. How hard is money laundering?
If you want to look at probably the most sophisticated money launderer in history, he's currently a guest of the U.S. government, but wherever SBF is staying. He was eventually caught. He was not caught for laundering tens of billions of dollars around. He wasn't even under suspicion for laundering tens of billions of dollars around. There's many other ways to launder money. You can do things like say I establish a shell corporation and I buy a piece of real estate in New York City, and then I rent that real estate out to people and I collect a stream of rents from that to a totally legitimate person. This money is clean. And the money that I put into the system to buy this on behalf of the shell corporation, I'm just going to wire it to a lawyer, and the lawyer is going to answer any question from the bank with, I don't know where it came from. I don't have to tell you. I'm a lawyer. It's a real.
I don't have to tell you. I'm a lawyer. It's a real estate transaction. It's a private transaction. It's nobody's business where the funding come from.
Real estate transaction. What do you want from me? In one sense, that's money laundering. If the original money was the proceeds of crime. In another sense, that's how every real estate transaction goes down.
That's how every real estate transaction goes down. This is the same thing as Trump in those cases that they're trying to say he was misappropriating the value of his property. It happens in every real estate transaction. The owner of the property is going to put an excessive value on it in a negotiation of going back and forth, where the guy that wants to buy it is going to put a low value on it. Then they're going to go back and forth and they're going to come to a central value, a fair market value or something, an agreed value. That's what this third-party intercourse is. They're violating your very ability to be able to contract in private. And again, that's because you don't understand. You've never been taught this stuff. So let's go on to Andrew. Schools oppress woke plus size woman. Now this is a little bit longer video and I enjoyed this one, so So I'm going to speed it up for the sake of the stream, but another great video.
Describe yourself as a feminist, you said in your notes, and your notes here, are these things you wanted to bring up?
I mean, they're just notes I took.
Or just
It's
like
stuff
notes
that
for
I
yourself?
know. Yeah, notes for myself.
Because you provided some, but if there are any others that we don't have that you want to bring up, we'd be happy to go into it. You said, please put me on the podcast. I'm watching the live stream right now and I want to pull my hair out. Was that the Charlie Kirk episode?
Yeah.
Okay. You said you're a flight lead. Chuck. Yeah.
He did great.
And you said that you're a flight attendant, big old feminist.
Yeah.
And you said, I promise I'll come in guns blazing.
Yeah.
Well, you can't rage quit if you're going to come in guns blazing. Guns blazing, you got to stay till the very
Do I have to?
Pretty much. Anyways, you said women shouldn't be drafted because the Equal Rights Amendment still hasn't been passed.
Exactly.
And women aren't constitutionally.
Women shouldn't be drafted because the Equal Rights Amendment hasn't been passed. Yes, it has. Okay? They want to amend it. And understand that the amendment they want to do is to change the definitions.
Excuse me, equal to men.
Yes. This is the stuff I wanted to talk
Sure.
about.
So why don't we dive into that? So your position is women shouldn't be drafted.
So they're saying that women shouldn't be drafted because the Equal Rights Amendment hasn't been passed, and that they're unconstitutionally or constitutionally unequal with men.
So you're a feminist, though. I assume you believe in equality.
Yes.
So how do you reconcile being a feminist and believing in equality, but being in favor of inequality when it comes to selective service?
Because the Equal Rights Amendment has not yet passed, so women are still not constitutionally equal men. So for that, if that passes, draft me, daddy. I'm ready to go.
So when you say women aren't constitutionally equal to men, and you mentioned the Equal Rights Amendment, what do you mean?
The Equal Rights Amendment.
Well, assume there's a panel here who has no idea what that is. Assume there's viewers here who have no idea what that
The
is.
Equal Rights Amendment is actually.
Well, let's have her answer.
Wow, I didn't think you wouldn't know what the Equal Rights Amendment is.
Did I say
it's
I
just
don't?
that no, it's just that you
Yeah, the premise that they don't know what the Equal Rights Amendment is pretty profound here, because evidently she's the one that doesn't know what it is. Pay attention.
would be an amendment to the Constitution that you can't discriminate on the basis of sex.
You mean the 19th Amendment?
Yeah. No.
No.
The 19th Amendment? Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, the 19th Amendment's already there, ladies.
No, it would be the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment. You can't discriminate on the
What is
basis
the
of
19th
sex.
Amendment?
I don't know what the 19th Amendment is. Do you want to tell me?
Women aren't constitutionally equal to men is false premise here, because you can't discern whether you're constitutionally equal to anybody if you don't know the Constitution, you dumb bitch. Excuse my language. But this is just so profound. How can you sit here and discern that women are not constitutionally equal to men if you do not know the Constitution, particularly the 19th Amendment, where it states?
Can you pull up the 19th Amendment so we can read?
But so this amendment, it's not clear to me how, because you said, so currently women aren't constitutionally equal to men. So I suppose where in the Constitution would it indicate or show that they're not equal to men?
You have the 19th Amendment? Okay, pull it up. Right, the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex.
Legislation, meaning you're equal to men when it comes to voting. And if you're equal to men when it comes to voting, then that means that you can elect whatever politician you want to enforce your will.
See, do you think your vote counts or you don't? One or the other. See, you fought for your right to vote, thinking that your vote counts. And now you're crying, saying that your vote doesn't count and you're not constitutionally protected. Excuse me?
Just like we can, totally equal. So
then why didn't the Equal Rights Amendment pass?
Because it's not about equal rights, it's about redefining the word woman. It redefines the word woman from biological woman with XX chromosomes to anybody who wants to identify as a woman. It is a change.
See? She said it. It's not about ratifying it. It's about amending the definitions and what it means to be a woman. Anybody that identifies as a woman.
in the very definition of what we just have all agreed is a woman.
So this said there can be no discrimination based upon sex. There's only two. Even if you think a person can, whatever they identify as, they are that thing. Even the advocates for transgenderism would not say that they're the sex of. They would not say that they're the sex of. So a transgender female is not going to say that they have female genitalia. So the descriptor here for sex would work across the board for everybody.
Transgender female wouldn't say that she has female genitalia.
They would not say that they are females biologically. They would not say that they're biologically. That's correct. They would say there's only two sexes. There's only two. There can only ever be two. One sex produces ova with large gametes. The other one produces sperm, which is small gametes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's only two. Because there's only two reproductive pathways. Even the major transgender advocates.
And gametes are like eggs, egg cells. So the women have their egg cells, and they're larger than the men's sperm, which is their egg cells.
It do not say that there's more than two sexes. They say that there's hundreds of genders.
Okay.
But there's still only two sexes. So that amendment, the 19th Amendment, says based on sex, which would cover every human being who currently exists in the United States, not one that would not cover, cannot be discriminated against based on sex when it comes to voting.
Did you read the Equal Rights Amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, so then how is this confusing?
What do you mean?
Like if you read the bill, then you would realize that like the point of the ERA is not to amend the 19th Amendment, but to pass legislation to change the definition of women. So if you read it like
I'm for that.
Okay. But why is women getting drafted contingent on whether you change the definition of
women? I don't understand why why would that be a difficult thing to pass? Like if the ERA is not a thing.
That's two separate issues.
Is it?
Yeah.
But wasn't that a big topic?
She's still stuck on the thing that it's not passed. It has been passed, you dumb bitch. What's coming up, this ERA thing you're talking about, is an amendment to the Equal Rights Amendment 19 to redefine woman.
That like Phyllis Schlafly was all about, like if the ERA passes, women are going to be drafted.
Yeah, it would open the door to them being drafted, I suppose.
So the thing is the epitome of the straw man now, right? It's to create the arguments against people who never made them. So I most certainly never made such an argument. Brian most certainly never made such an argument. The argument that we're making is very specific.
Okay.
The argument is that if men can be drafted, right, and they can be, and they're forced to sign up for selective service, and they are, or else there's huge penalties against them.
Yeah.
If you truly believe in egalitarianism, why is it that you would not demand the same thing from women?
Because I don't think it's enough. I think that there needs to be more. I think that if it truly was equal, then the ERA should have passed no problem. And I think that
What would that have
also
to do with women signing up though for the biological sex of female who's allowed to vote? Why is it that the biological sex of female?
I think we're getting into a different topic.
I don't think we are.
Jive donated $200.
No, there's a trans.
2020 SCOTUS opinion Boston v. Clayton already prohibits discrimination on the basis of orientation and gender identity. Quit playing wannabe a lawyer.
But we don't even have to.
Even under her goofy concept of gender, 2020 SCOTUS opinion Bostock versus Clayton already prohibits discrimination on the basis of orientation and gender identity. That's when they included the thing about you can't discriminate against transgenders. So it's no longer a matter of male and female. We surpassed that, and we've now even clarified the rights of transgenders. How dense are you people?
We don't even have to get that far. So pull up the 19th again. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States by any state on account of sex. If that is true, then no human being inside the United States is going to not be able to vote, period, based on a sexual characteristic, period.
Okay.
So in your
So we can get into the Equal Rights Amendment component of this, but you said that women shouldn't be drafted because the Equal Rights Amendment still hasn't been passed, and women aren't constitutionally equal to men. That's the second claim there is the claim that I want to investigate. You said women aren't constitutionally equal to men. Can you articulate how?
Well, I found in my notes, the ERA's equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the U.S. or by any state on the basis of sex.
I'm actually willing to go with this. I'm actually willing to engage with this. So you agree that this has to do with redefining what a woman is, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you think currently that transgender men have to sign up for selective service?
So are they assigned male or female at birth?
They're assigned female at birth.
And they transition to male?
Yeah, even before they reach 18.
Before they reach 18? If they're fully transitioned, then yeah, I would think so.
They don't.
Okay.
They do not have to sign up for the selective service.
And that should change.
Okay, so what you have just demonstrated is that even if we're talking about the trans agenda, the trans men are also still not equal with trans women. They're still not equal with trans women.
Because they're men. Trans men are men.
Nope. Because when you're born male, then it doesn't matter if you switch sex to female. It only matters if you're born female, then you're not required to, even if you decide to change your sex to or gender to male. Gender identity.
Hang on. If that's true, right, then how come they don't have to sign up for selective
They
service?
should have to because they're men.
Okay, they should have to.
Because they're men.
So
yes.
then shouldn't trans women?
Trans women should what?
Shouldn't trans women, right? Shouldn't they be exempt under this?
Trans women shouldn't have to sign up
Yeah.
for yes.
Even though they're biologically males?
No, trans women are women.
Biologically male.
Trans women are women.
Yeah, but biologically
Trans
they're males.
women are women.
Yeah, but you're
They're
not saying
women.
anything.
You're not saying anything.
No, I am. I'm saying
they're
something very
biologically
specific.
whatever. They're women.
Okay, got it. So what you're saying here is that you think that trans men who are born female should have to sign up for the draft, but that the ones who are assigned male at birth, they should be exempt from the draft.
If they are transitioned to women, identify as women, yes.
Why do they have to transition? Why couldn't they just identify?
Then they're women. They're whatever point they are. If they're a woman, then they're a woman.
Then it's equal.
Great.
Then it's equal between all of it, right? Because in this case, then biological men, if they say they're women, they don't have to get drafted.
Sure, throw that equal rights amendment up there, and we're all equal, and draft us all.
So I just want to make sure I get this right. Right now, you agree that nobody can be drafted. No, I mean, nobody can be barred from voting on the basis of sex.
Right.
Do you think there's a third sex?
No, I think that there are women and men.
Yeah. Do you think there's a third sex? How many sexes do you think there are?
I don't think that matters.
I think it matters. How many sexes do you think
I
there
think that this is like do you know any transgender people?
Yeah. How many sexes do you think there are? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that this is harmful to their?
Whether it's okay. Let's assume for a second that I don't think that transgender people don't understand that you can have a conversation about biological sex without going in and enlightening themselves. I don't think.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and see, that goes to the aspect I was talking about earlier. Don't sit there and say that because you're a woman and it's your body and therefore I don't have any say on the abortion issue because I'm a man. And that ain't going to fly anymore, okay? You have to start taking responsibility for the reality of truth. And again, in your gender and transgender confirmations and stuff, where you think you can change that aspect of you, that's a delusion. It's an inherent biological trait that is genetically imposed through chromosomes and their structure. You can't go through your body and change the chromosomal structure of all of your chromosomes from male to female, nor from female to male by snipping and sewing. It doesn't happen like that.
It's not about that. It's that you set like a precedent where, well, you set a precedent of like, violence where my friends don't feel safe going to like their places of work or.
Yeah, but what would that have to do with whether they're equal or not?
Well, when you're saying like when you have these arguments that like don't like trans women are women, trans men are men.
Fine.
And when you break that down,
even if I say that, nobody's going to dispute that there's only two sexes. If there's only two sexes, the 19th Amendment says that nobody can be denied the right to vote via sex. Sure. So all those trans people can vote.
Great. Okay.
So then what's the inequality issue here?
That's what I said. So draft them all.
So then you think everybody should get drafted?
Throw the equal rights amendment up there because if
why do
everybody's
we
equal,
need
then there
the
should
equal
be
rights
no problem. If you know what? If there's no problem and if we don't like, we should have it then. Why is it such a big deal?
I think this word will sum this up perfectly. Redundancy. So women already have, at least it's my position, are constitutionally equal to men. So even if
I don't think so.
Okay,
what are you asking for? What do we not get that you think we should bodily autonomy?
Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But okay, so it's my view though that you're saying, well, we don't have this bill that is named and called entitled the Equal Rights Amendment. Ergo, we don't have equal rights because a bill that is titled the Equal Rights Amendment was not passed. But this bill, and I'm not super familiar with it, I'm not entirely sure if it is a redundancy. The current state of affairs, the 19th Amendment, constitutionally, women are equal, but you made the claim women aren't constitutionally equal. So the burden is on you to articulate how women aren't constitutionally equal to men, and you cannot point to a bill just by virtue of the title of the bill, it not passing, being evidence that women aren't constitutionally equal to men.
How is something called the Equal Rights Amendment not passing?
You can the title of the bill. The title of the bill is irrelevant.
Do you think that North Korea is really a republic? Because it's called the Republic of North Korea.
Okay.
It's a communist dictatorship, but it is called the Republic of North Korea.
Okay.
So
you understand that? It's a communist organization, but it's called a republic. You have to understand the underlying principles above the letter of the words. And so when you want to sit there and use these words like transgender, the underlying principle is that you can emotionally decide that you're a woman when in fact you're a man, or vice versa. You can emotionally decide that you're a woman or a man when in fact you're a woman, but you can't do it physically without some kind of strange manipulation that you shouldn't be doing. It doesn't happen naturally in any form. And this medical society that you keep playing with is your downfall. All these implants and things that leak in you and cause all kinds of insidious diseases. It's sickening.
But that must be a republic then.
The Inflation Reduction Act only boosted inflation.
Okay,
Okay, so the contents of a bill might oftentimes have nothing to do with the actual title.
Okay.
So you did make the claim, and women, that's separate from the Equal Rights Amendment, aren't constitutionally equal to men. So you're going to have to articulate how women aren't constitutionally equal to men.
I think that if they were, then the Equal Rights Amendment should have passed. No problem. That's all I have to say about the Equal Rights Amendment. That's it. That's all I have to say. I can't articulate more than that. That's my point.
I mean,
and then I also think that women would be able to have more bodily autonomy.
Okay, so we can get into that.
Okay.
Would you vote?
More bodily autonomy, and that's where we get into the implants and the abortion and everything in all those different ranges. Why is it women want the body autonomy and they go to plastic surgeons and abortion doctors? See, I think when men want that body autonomy, they go to a fucking gym. Damn idiocy.
Oh, so that men couldn't vote on women's bodily autonomy?
Men couldn't vote? Like, I don't understand in the context.
Would
It would be yes.
You would vote so that men couldn't
In
vote
what
on women's
context?
abortion?
Like, yes, I would vote that way.
Okay, right. So that's the same reason that we vote that you don't have abortions.
But, okay, well, there you go.
It's just like that. If you would vote that we couldn't tell you that you couldn't,
Well, that's a
then
fair
in a
point.
democracy, then
Then
we could
I-
vote in a democracy to tell you can't. See?
Sure, well, then I do think that's wrong. And
Well, so then voting's wrong.
No, I think that I should backtrack.
And I think that's what went wrong. It was put up for a vote, and too many men voted it in and allowed women to vote. I don't think women belong in politics, guys. Gals. Call me a misogynist all you want. Just my opinion, goddammit.
Correct my statement because I think that everybody should have bodily autonomy. So if you want to vote for my right to not have control over my body, I do think that's unfair.
Well, okay, hold on.
And I probably shouldn't vote for you, dude.
Not going to allow you to weasel out of this. So you can try to bring up abortion, but that's a different conversation.
argument, yeah.
So you stated, and women aren't constitutionally equal to men.
I don't think we are.
You don't
I don't
think so,
understand how,
but that's
yeah.
what I'm asking.
I wanna be
That's what I'm trying.
convinced. I wanna be
Hold on,
convinced
just let her answer. It's okay.
I remain unconvinced.
So you don't think we are. In what ways do you think you are not constitutionally equal?
I mean, I told you that I didn't think we were because ERA didn't pass.
Okay, give us an example.
That's the example I gave.
Okay, so
if you don't like that one, then that's fine. You don't like it.
It didn't pass. It's her only argument to say that they're not constitutionally equal to men. When the Constitution already says that you are. This, again, the issue here is the Equal Rights Amendment they're talking about, or the bill is just a bill to amend the definition that used therein of women. Woman.
Yeah, then move
Okay,
on.
but hold on.
I gave you abortion.
Wait,
Well, may I
hold on.
because she explained what the bill was, but you never gave your explanation to what this means. So I keep wanting to know what do you mean this bill? Like,
And again, that's one of those issues where they claim this body autonomy over men that don't have the body autonomy and claim that they should be able to have the decision of aborting a child when it's the man's seed. It's time to stop dismissing the men and their role and stop saying that you don't need men so you can have an abortion. Psychotic.
like what is it to you? Like what was denied? The right for trans men to be trans women and all of us to be the same thing? Because that's how she explained it. Is that it's so universal, like all of us, to make trans women women. That's what this bill is?
No, I mean, like the definition of feminism is like, to me, well, not even to me, it's literally the belief that women and men should be allowed to have the same rights.
Which we do.
And I feel like the Equal Rights Amendment says that.
So,
but isn't the 19th just for voting?
But what I'm asking, like, what does it
So
say?
why can't we have that for everything? If the 19th is just for voting.
So actually, hang on. This is a great question. And I'd like to answer your question. If you can name a single right that you think that this is not applicable to, meaning men have it and women don't, Mullers, you say that women can't do abortions, neither can men.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Do you mind if I have some time to think about it? Okay.
So wouldn't men be not as equal by not having any say?
And this girl went to college. This is a college graduate. She claims she's got a certificate hanging on a wall. Okay. And can't come up with one thing that it would affect. You would think she'd have an argument other than the ERA didn't pass. She didn't even read it.
An abortion as a woman does?
The man was there to make. I mean, I'm trying to think. Do you mind if I have some time to think about it? Sure. Okay.
So wouldn't men be not as equal by not having a say in abortion as the woman does?
The man was there to make.
I mean, it's both.
I think that's a.
Right. I'm just
While she's thinking, Nick, pull up the scroll up.
Yeah, a good one to bring up while she's thinking. The same thing I mentioned earlier. You know, what gives you the right to say that you don't need men to go ahead and get pregnant by a man and then say that you have body autonomy to make the decision to have an abortion? Let's look at the next one. Based woman destroys brainwashed feminist.
Does the wage gap exist?
I just think you're brainwashed. Something.
You think I'm brainwashed?
I think that there is a lot of expectations for women to behave a certain way.
Are there not expectations for men to behave a certain way too?
Yes, there are.
I would almost argue it's easier to start a business in America as a woman. You have preferential treatment when it comes to loans, preferential hiring processes. Literally just because you're a woman, women are the majority of college graduates. Life being a woman, I feel like in some ways kind of life on easy mode if you play into the corporate structure. They literally have empowerment programs that they don't allow men, let alone straight white men in.
So, like I said before, and I'm going to stick with it, men, it's your fault. Our fault. We brought it on. It's only because we helped women fight for their feminist rights that we now have this diversity, equity, inclusion, bringing about this uneven scale where they think it's uneven in favor of men, white men. No. And you'll see this across the board. People will see the white man as being the one that's being ousted. I don't know. That's just what I see being said a lot.
Literally a.
And it is true. These women that go out for these small business loans and this and that to open up a salon or something like that, or whatever, a craft shop, they're much easier to get those, much more qualified to get those loans because of the diversity, equity, and inclusion, wanting to get these women out into this public society where they don't belong. It's a wealth grab in every sense.
Multi-billion-dollar corporate push to empower women. You know, you think I'm brainwashed, you can think that, but you also espouse an ideology that you can't even give me literally one example why you actually believe it, let alone define it, but you just slap that label on because that's what mainstream society's told you to believe.
Absolutely. I think we'll listen to this one again.
So I think you're actually the one who's brainwashed.
I'm brainwashed.
Girl, you are so based. Thank you. So does the wage gap exist?
I just think you're brainwashed. Something.
You think I'm brainwashed?
I think that there.
Yeah, let's look at that. This gal evidently doesn't know how to put makeup on or something. Got whites all up in the corners, mist or something. I don't know. Maybe it's the lighting. All this shit dangling as an attraction to try to make her look attractive. Yet it almost looks like she's got purple tints in her hair. And then all the dark clothing.
I think that there is a lot of expectations for women to behave a certain way.
Are there not expectations?
And the based woman here with a nice shirt with a nice ribbed pattern on it, and can't even see her any earrings if there's any. Nothing around her neck. Got a couple bracelets on. Don't see a ring or anything.
For men to behave a certain way too?
Yes, there are.
I would almost argue it's easier to start a business in America as a woman. You have preferential treatment when it comes to loans, preferential hiring processes. Literally just because you're a woman, women are the majority of college graduates. Life being a woman, I feel like in some ways kind of life on easy mode if you play into the corporate structure. They literally have empowerment programs that they don't allow men, let alone straight white men in. There's literally a multi-billion-dollar corporate push to empower women. You know, you think I'm brainwashed, you can think that, but you also espouse an ideology that you can't even give me literally one example why you actually believe it, let alone define it. But
And notice her posture and the way she sits here compared to the other one.
you just slap that label on because that's what mainstream society's told you to believe. So I think you're actually the one who's brainwashed.
I'm brainwashed.
Girl, you are.
As she sits down low in her chair with her arms crossed. Oops.
I'm brainwashed.
See, she's got her arms crossed down here. She's sitting low, holding her head back. Shoulders lurch forward.
Girl, you are so based.
So based. So based. I like based. I like based. So let's take a look at family on road trip meets abusive trooper. And this is another longer video, but I'm going to speed it up as well. But this is just amazing the way these people think they can treat these public servants think they can treat the people that they're obligated to uphold and serve.
What did I do? Step out of the vehicle. You were the one doing 100 miles an hour coming down that hill, weren't you? You have registration on you? Way too fast.
This West Virginia state trooper pulled over and arrested this dad right in front of his family because they witnessed the trooper illegally speeding. And this guy's such a jerk. This is how he was talking to the wife right in front of the crying daughter.
Yes. Do you have a driver's license? I need to see that. Do you want me to explain this further, or you want to argue with me? In that case, I'll just leave and you can figure it out on your own. I'm explaining to you how to get your husband out of jail in the morning. Do you want that explanation or not?
And if that voice sounds familiar, this isn't his first time. That same trooper I did a video on about 2 years ago after he got caught on a secret recording verbally abusing a woman.
That kind of escalated quick, right? This is the one that he's talking about from a couple years ago, and this goes to that thing I talk about all the time. These guys remain on the forces doing this shit time and time and time again. It's got to stop, folks.
Supposedly, he was disciplined by the state police for that, but apparently he's still out there abusing people. I'll tell you what happened and what you can do to help.
This is cannabis and mushrooms in a can. You ever tried anything like that?
Shoot, let me try that. It smells good.
This is never before seen body cam footage out of Shinston, West Virginia. This occurred all the way back on December 17th, 2023. But because of the criminal case that happened afterwards, the case was only fairly recently resolved. And again, no one has seen this footage yet, but they need to. This family was from that area, but they had since relocated to the Cincinnati, Ohio area. And so they were traveling around Christmas of 2023. And you know, when you travel with kids, you have to stop and get them McDonald's. Well, that's what they did. It was late at night, around 10 o'clock at night. Nobody on the roads. This is a 2-lane road, US Route 19. They go through the drive-through at McDonald's. They go to pull out on the 2-lane road. Traffic is clear. They begin to make a left-hand turn. They do make a left-hand turn. And as they get in their lane, they see a car absolutely flying towards them. The window had been rolled down because they just went through the drive-through. The father thought it was like a teenager speeding. And he did like a slow down gesture outside his window, like you would do to a teenager that was about to kill somebody. Then as the car passes, they see this is a West Virginia State Police cruiser. So they keep on driving. They go down almost to the next light. Next thing you know, that West Virginia State Trooper had turned around, came up behind them and turned his emergency lights on. Now, when they saw the car flying towards them, he did not have any emergency lights on, just headlights coming at them. No apparent emergency. Now he does a U-turn, comes up behind them, pulls them over. This is the raw body cam footage from that interaction. And since this is the raw footage, not available anywhere else, I'll leave it uncut for you. It's not very long. Then I'll tell you what happened afterwards.
Charlie 99205. It's a white Ram pickup. I'll be 19 with it. About 19 to 1,000.
So basically what happened was this family's pulling out of a drive from the restaurant, just stopped and got burgers and everything for the kids or whatnot. And pulling out, you're just pulling out into normal traffic and you're not going to be flying. Whereas this officer was flying down a stretch of road and came up over a hill, and that's when he saw this guy pulling out. And he was evidently going too fast. At least that's the premise here. And the guy simply waved his hand in a motion to slow down. Evidently, the trooper passed him. By the time he got up to the lights, the trooper was nowhere around, and shortly thereafter came up behind him.
You know what? I stopped you. Yeah, you were coming down the hill about 60 miles an hour over T-zone because you have the duty to yield to traffic when it's in a highway from any other place. Do you have any registration?
You have to yield to traffic when entering into a highway from any other place. You look both ways, and yes, you yield to traffic. And of course, traffic along that road, I could imagine, didn't see a speeding sign, didn't look, or a speed limit sign. Maybe there was one, but either way, the claim is he was flying. Yeah, I don't see a speed limit sign there we could read, but they have a tendency to do that kind of thing, using these motor vehicles, official vehicles, as if though they have the right to go as fast as they want. And if somebody doesn't yield to them for any reason, then they're in the wrong.
I need a license. I need a license. I need a license registration from you right now. For what? I need a license registration. What did I do? Step out of the vehicle. You're out of your mind. Step out of the vehicle. I'm not coming out of the vehicle. Buddy, you need to step out of the vehicle. I just had a $50,000 surgery on my arm. Step out of the vehicle, or you need to give me your license and registration. I'll give you my license and registration. You need to settle down. If you start working on me, I'm giving you my license. Step out of the vehicle. Is this on camera? Yeah, step out of the vehicle. I'm about to step out. No, you want my license? I'm giving you my license. You're going to step out of the vehicle. You can step out of the vehicle. Let's do it, man. I want the full 100 miles an hour.
Again, this guy just got done having surgery on his arm. Evidently can't even bend it and shit yet. And he wants to go full bore. That's just stupidity, people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let's do it. How am I going to step out? You've got it wrapped around my neck. No, it's around your arm. How am I going to step out? I can't. Take your arm out of the seatbelt. I can't bend my arm. Step out. No. Step out. Around. Seriously? Yeah. Fuck me back here. Fuck me. So it doesn't bend? No, it doesn't bend. No, I was doing 15 miles an hour and he was doing 60. I hope you have backup coming. Why? Because this is ridiculous. Okay. Absolutely ridiculous. You were the one doing 100 miles an hour coming down that hill. Weren't you? You have registration on you? Way too fast. You have the registration on the vehicle? Yeah. It's in the center console.
See, yeah, good little slave. You got registration on you? Yeah. Remember, the owner withdrawal from program, the registration decal can be removed upon your decision to withdraw from the motor vehicle theft prevention program.
Okay, cool. Good. I'm excited for this. Hey, man, you got a valid driver's license? Okay, we're going to take the vehicle.
That is 28 CFR 29.10. 28 CFR 29.10. Owner withdrawal from program.
I'm going to need to see that before you leave, okay? Why should he take the vehicle? Do you not want to? I got a code. For what? Because you're going to jail. For what? For failing to identify yourself, and I asked you. You got my ID. Yeah, and you said no. Go ahead. Oh, my lawyers won't love this. Hold on. Have a seat. What? Have a seat.
So the insanity continues, and these officers continue to be employed. And that's a problem, folks.
Brother, what did you say about that code 28 CFR 2910 again? Is that something that you have to submit a notice to the program for withdrawal or opt out, or what is it again?
Yeah, read it. It's one paragraph, 1 or 2 sentences is all it is. It'll tell you everything you need to know. You can remove the decal and the plate if necessary, and give notice. It's wise. They suggest that you give notice to the agency. That's all it's supposed to take. That's federal code, folks. So let's get on to the next one. We got Rachel Wilson destroys feminist who constantly tone polices. And this is Andrew Wilson's wife on whatever again. So let's check into it.
Let women talk. Where you think are areas of men in society that are weaker points.
Sure, I would say that where men tend to go wrong is by being so desirous of women and putting them on a pedestal that they kind of go along and they fluff them up and go along with their nonsense because they want pussy. And I think that's probably the biggest weakness that a lot of men.
Simpin'.
Is there any weakness that you can list that doesn't have anything to do with women?
Women are not the best at anything.
You sound like a misogynist.
That's not true. Women are not.
You sound like a misogynist. First go-to. I bet she's a misandrist.
At raising kids. We are the best at raising kids.
hating on your own gender.
I know what you're gonna say. Single dads do better than single
fathers
moms.
have a better turnout rate than single mothers.
Brian, the woman prattles out of control. I can't
Single
tell you.
fathers have a better turnout rate than single mothers.
Okay, respectfully, I would like
Sure.
to, yeah.
So the problem right now is
Mhm.
that we have an inverted social order. The social order is
Like I said, set thine house in order. We've got an inverted social order here. Everything's fucked up. Everything. I don't think it's inverted. I think it's chaotic.
not meant to be that we must cater to women's feelings and that women have to be okay with how things are said and they have to approve and we have to convince them and we have to pull them over to our side.
Okay, so
The way it's supposed to be is that the order is men, then women, then children. The men
God, church, whatever. Men, women, children. Set thine house in order.
parse out the truth, they write the laws, they enforce the laws, they run society. The women can have their opinions all day, but it doesn't mean that anybody has to give a about them. Does that make
Exactly. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back or not. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you disrespect me. I don't care if you don't respect me. I don't care nothing. That's your opinion. Doesn't matter to me.
make sense? So
okay,
you
so
can have your
male
opinion.
passivity. You didn't list that. Do you think men in our society struggle with being passive? Because I would
No,
argue that
I
that's
think-
something that's a
I
problem.
think there's a higher, I've explained this 10 times. There's a hierarchy among males.
Okay.
The ones that end up at the top running things do not pay any attention to the passive bitches at the bottom and they get stuffed in lockers. They don't generally get to reproduce. So historically, every one of us sitting here has twice as many female ancestors as we have male ancestors. The reason for that is that men have to compete to be worthy of reproduction. As a woman, all you have to do is drop eggs. That's it. Someone's going to
Almost any woman out there can get laid. But I guarantee you, not every man, not anywhere close to every man, has pussy in his life. There is a great number of men that go through their life not getting any. You think men are choosy? It's the women that are choosy. It's the women that play this Broadway show. All that makeup attracting men, the weak men.
going to come along and inseminate you. You don't have to be special. You don't have to do anything wonderful or unique. You don't have to compete necessarily. Now you can compete for higher quality as a woman, but to reproduce as a woman, all you have to do is be fertile. As a man, historically, you have to compete for the women. So the betas, the feminine men, they get used as cannon fodder, ditch diggers. It's tough. Being a man is like really
Here's
tough.
my problem with your approach. As a woman of God, I would assume that like you would put value in women, and that's what I don't hear in any of your
I
arguments.
put value in women as much.
It goes to that thing of earlier, absence of evidence and evidence of absence. At this point in time, she's speaking on the value of men that's being dismissed. And this lady over here, like I said, she's probably misandrist. She hates listening to it. So she's so swayed by her feminist views that, well, what about the women? What about the women? What about the women? That's your problem, lady. You think everything is about the women. And that there is no problem with men. That you just don't need them.
Mothers, as wives, as caretakers. I think they don't belong in the workplace. They don't belong in college, with a few very minor exceptions. And here's why. We used to have communities. We used to have women that, like me, would spend their early years raising kids.
Pay attention. This is what I'm talking about with the kindergarten and retirement homes and public education systems. We don't need that stuff. They're communal projects that we can develop that would enhance everybody's talents according to their place in the order.
As they get older and their kids start to leave the nest, they're helping the younger generations raise their kids. They're helping their sisters, their nieces, their daughters raise children. They're working in the church parish. They're working in the community. They're taking care of the elderly. We don't have that anymore because women are all in cubicles working for corporations.
See, that was a role of women in a closely knit community a long time ago. Then they decided they wanted to fight for their feminist rights so they could vote, get involved in politics, become educated. In that same public education system that indoctrinates everybody else, all these cuck men, beta corporate cuck men, who want all those good-looking women in the workforce with them so they can dazzle and gaggle at them all day long and then go home to their wives and their children.
And paying taxes.
Getting
And it's-
sexually harassed by their
Exactly.
bosses instead of their husbands at home where they should be.
Where it's fun, where you want.
See? Where it's fun, where you want to get smacked on the ass by the man that loves you and you love him. You play those games at home, ladies. You don't belong in the streets.
You want the smack on the ass, you know? So I know that you don't like my tone. And my message to all of you women out there who don't like my tone is I don't f***ing care. I don't care. If you can't get past your own feelings to hear what I'm saying, then you're going to doom yourself to a life
It's
of
your
misery.
lack of Christ-likeness. That's what I don't like.
But she's a woman. She can't be like Christ.
Lack of Christ-likeness. If she's a woman, she can't be Christ. Bullshit. Okay? Christ, it is a consciousness. And just because she's not going to play to your little feminist feelers and speak nicely to you, this isn't a coddling session. You're a full-grown woman, supposedly a pastor. This gal in the red shirt. Yeah, the red, a harlot. Total blasphemy. This woman's delusional.
I don't like that.
So you
kind
think
of talk.
Christianity is being nice? It's meeting
No,
the approval
I think
of women.
Christianity is being. I think kindness is,
being
but it's not the most,
soft.
that. You know what God is called? The first when God describes Himself in in Exodus, the first adjective that He uses in Exodus 34, He says, "I am a God of compassion." And so I think compassion is very important. And I think God puts
everything
more
through your
value.
woman feelings. I think that you're in your feelings right now. You don't like my delivery, and I'm telling you that I don't care.
So every argument that I've just provided for you is scripture, and you're trying to say that that's feelings.
No, you're not.
So I
giving
think that's
me
a flaw in
scripture.
your.
You're giving me woman
Exodus
prattle.
34.
You are filtering your perception of Exodus.
I'm sorry,
through
she's
your
not a
woman
Christian. She's
feelings.
not a Christian. But did I just quote a
Proverbs
literal?
21:19.
Okay, did I just?
Proverbs 21:19. So let's take a look at Proverbs 21:19, guys. You know what Proverbs 21:19 is? Come on. Let's show you. Proverbs 21:19. Remember that question about would you rather be with a bear or a man? It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. So keep saying you'd rather live with that bear. We agree. I do anyway.
Quote and act like obvious scripture.
Yeah.
You could look it up. You could look up Exodus 34, and it will say, "I am a God of compassion." That's the first faithful love.
right.
All those
So
he lists
I
four
have
characteristics
to
of
meet
him.
your standard for compassion for you to accept my
No,
message.
but I think
you're
I think
here
it's-
to make sure that I speak the way that you think I should speak.
No,
you
but
know I
I'm-
have a husband and I have a priest, right? And if they think that the way I'm talking is not correct. They
Absolutely.
will correct
That
me,
as
not
technically
you.
worse. No, but technically we are supposed to be part of the same family, like sisters in Christ. And
Right.
all I'm saying is
And what we need is women who will boldly.
Yeah, sisters in Christ. So again, it's the man, the woman, and the children. So you're still dismissing the order of the house. Again, this is the woman that claims to be a pastor and should know those scriptures and wants to pick and choose, as Rachel's telling her, those scriptures for her emotional feelings and won't point out the obvious truth.
Speak the truth and not mince words and not be subject to the HR management department and the hall monitors who are going to sit
and be at home and be quiet. But now we
when I'm at
speak the truth.
When I'm at home, sweetheart, I am quiet and I am submissive to my husband.
Okay, but
I'm here
here
in a
now.
panel full of feminists and a panel full of modern women. And so I'm here to tell you all that you're full of shit and that I don't care what you think about my delivery. Argue my arguments. Defeat my arguments. Don't tone police me and say, well, you're right, Rachel. I just don't like the way you delivered it, because I don't care. Women. And so I'm here to tell you all that you're full of shit and that I don't care what you think about my delivery. Argue my arguments. Defeat my arguments. Don't tone police me and say, well, you're right, Rachel. I just don't like the way you delivered it, because I don't care. And so I'm here to tell you all that you're full of shit and that I don't care what you think about my delivery. Argue my arguments. Defeat my arguments. Don't tone police me and say, well, you're right, Rachel. I just don't like the way you delivered it, because I don't care.
I don't.
I don't care. I love it. I love it. Modern woman insults viewer's daughter. Can't remember this one. Oh, yeah, I do.
We resolve, how do we bridge the gap? I said I don't want my daughter to grow up like you, and I asked how do we resolve, how do we bridge the gap? Clearly you have 0 EXP.
Why are you asking
your
Andrew to
daughter
answer?
grows up to be even worse than us?
You hope that your daughter grows up to be worse.
I hope his daughter grows up to be worse than us.
Wow, that's a pretty
Lame ass 304. Tore up from the floor up because she's a whore up. I'm telling you what, this is a woman that's supposed to be a mother. Men are supposed to be fathers. Women are supposed to be mothers. That's the inherent purpose in our life as stewards.
vile thing to say about somebody's daughter who's not a party to this conversation. Do you want to walk that back, or are you just going to...
See what you're doing right now. It's the exact. You've been doing this for
Wait,
so long.
just to be clear, you think what I said to her is more disrespectful than what she just said to him?
I'm not saying that.
She just involved his daughter, hoping...
He involved his daughter. Did you not read
What?
his comment?
He said he didn't want his daughter to grow up in a society like this.
Yeah, like with women like
No,
us.
he
So
said
I
women like us.
Yeah,
so I said, yeah,
Yeah, so they got butthurt because it was, and it wasn't women like us. We'll listen to it again, but it's because they get butthurt and in their feelers that they react like this. This shows these kind of people have no logical reason of thinking. They've been brought up in their emotions, and this is just insane. These are full-grown people. This is why I say we're full-grown boys and girls now. We should start acting like it.
His daughter's going to be worse than women I wouldn't want my daughter to grow up around feminists either.
I said I don't want my daughter to grow up like you, and I...
Grow up like you. I wouldn't want them to grow up like them either. This is sick. And when it comes to that one earlier where the gal couldn't determine whether the women were constitutionally equal to men yet or not, Black pastor trolls Joe Biden.
Came across this black preacher.
What is a woman?
It's your mama. It sure ain't your daddy.
That's right. Go ahead.
President Biden joining in on the conversation. We didn't know what a woman. We didn't know what a woman is. A woman is your mama.
That's right.
You mean to tell me you past 80 and you don't know your mama and your wife is a woman? They keep trying to shove this trash on Africa. And African presidents, one by one, is standing up against it.
That's what the black church used to be. These niggas done went woke over here. Gender and sex are synonymous, always have been. But they say this new gender identity. But then they conflate gender identity with gender. They say your genitals don't determine your sex, your gender. Well, why are you chopping your dick off?
Good question. Good question. If it doesn't determine your sex, then why are you chopping it off?
If this determines you're a woman, why are you chopping your cock off? Just call it a vagina. You're calling yourself a...
If your brain is what determines you a woman, then why do you need breasts to prove it? Why do you need to hide it to prove it? Why do you need to look different to prove it? See, that's the problem. You can't say because you feel better as a woman that I have to accept that you're a woman and help you feel better feeling like a woman by identifying you as a woman, because that's your own little lie. I don't have to lie to myself to help somebody else lie to themselves to make them feel good for themselves. It's like I told my wife many times when we first got together. She kept insisting, you make me happy. No, I do not make anybody happy. You're happy because of certain interactions, and that's your own. That's what you own. And here we got this gal again. Go ahead.
And you know, it's an insanity because nowadays everybody's looking for someone to make them happy, when it should already be, you should already be happy in yourself. And then, like you said, what interaction you have with someone else, then that would be the complement of the happiness for two people coming together. And people can't see that nowadays. They just can't. That's
No,
like
they're too
living
busy
a lie.
arguing. Yep. So, again, we have this stubborn plus-size lady coped when told the truth about men's preferences. So this is where we're they're doing the numbers game, rating themselves. I think it was. Let me see.
Looks are the number one thing that men care about, and not finances.
Yeah, I think that physical attractiveness and beauty is the thing that they're drawn to more than any other
For
factor.
Wait, do you
relationships and
think
sex.
that finance is the number one thing men are looking
No.
for? What do you think the number one thing men are looking
I'm not
for?
sure, because if I knew, I would probably I don't know actually.
Personality. I would say most men are looking for a partner to go through life and to further
Yeah, right.
their own line.
Yeah, I would think it would be a
further their
mix
own-
of everything, you know? I don't think like some hot girl, like some hot bitch that's $50,000 in debt walking down the street, you're like, that's me, that's my wife, you know?
So do you agree with me that procreation is necessary for humanity to continue to exist?
No. Well, to continue to exist, yeah, but I don't think humanity.
Yeah, to continue to exist. So if that is the case, you do agree with me that this was done by a man and a woman having sexual intercourse. She became pregnant and then she had a baby, right? That's how that's done.
Sure.
So how would a man select for that? For who he wanted to impregnate? How would he select for that? What would be the thing within 5 seconds a man could look at instantly and go, I want to put a baby in
Have
that
you
chick.
heard about the man riding the elephant? Like that theory?
Okay, so before we get into that,
Yeah.
okay, would you agree with me that within a few seconds, right, men can utilize the standard of beauty to quickly ascertain whether or not they want to impregnate a woman?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Women-
Right. So
Yeah,
what's that?
women also so
Absolutely. I'm
based
not,
off of look.
literally not disputing that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, men certainly have a preference, I'm sure. And it certainly isn't this obese society that we have today. Same with women. So again, it's not just women, it's men. Men, it's your fault. You want to bring up a son that's nice, strapping, healthy, and strong. You should be setting a good model, a good example by being strapping, healthy, and strong yourself. Not slogging down a case of beer after you get off work, ending up with a beer belly and a backyard mechanic trying to fix things because you spend all your money on booze and other things, and so you cheapskate on bills, and you got hectic wiring in your house because you thought you're a good electrician too. You know, jack of all trades but a master of none. You're going to kill somebody someday if you don't understand what's going on.
Okay. However,
going to Cancun, so I will send you pictures. I'm going skydiving. Yeah, no, I finished all my emails, so I will see you for drinks later.
women might prioritize other categorizations than just this thing.
Sure. When you look at somebody in the first 5 seconds.
Hang on. So men's categorization for, okay, I see beauty, right? Whoa, beautiful, great, awesome. Women might look at other things. They might be like, nice suit, nice car, nice this, nice that. They may have some other value add that they're looking for. But for men, they're looking visually very quickly, ascertaining very quickly, hot, want.
I think what you're talking about is like the nature of a man, right? Like his animal instinct. And I think that's the same for a woman. Like I think you're talking about like I said, the man riding the elephant. Like the elephant's like the
right. Like I said, women want nice looking, strapping, built men, preferably, and men want nice looking, bodied women.
The part of you that's like old and inherent, and like the what you're doing in your subconscious. And I think like, okay, a man is seeing a woman, oh, she's hot, I want to impregnate her. A woman is seeing a man, like strong features. I don't think in the first 5 seconds, like I'm not looking at a man and seeing what he's wearing.
Grid One Motorsports donated $200.01. Sorry, tons of fun. My wife had no money and had a master's degree to pay for. I married her because she was the only person I ever missed. It helped. She is smoking hot and sexed me up like I like it.
Yeah, Grid One, appreciate it. We do actually have the data that you were asking for. It's from the Pew Research Center. Nick, if you can.
Wait, where's it from?
Pew, let's do it.
Wait, from Pew? Where did I say it was from?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Okay, Americans say a man should be able to support family financially, but don't say the same about women. Percent of adults saying it is very important that the man woman has each trait in order to be a good husband in the teal, green, whatever, and in the yellow, gold, good wife partner. So on the second one, be able to support a family financially. They, I believe this is from women to men. So 71% of women to men say that they want a good husband partner to be able to support family financially. 32% of men are saying that in order to be a good wife partner, the woman needs to be able to support.
So you said over, yeah.
You remember how you said earlier, if we pull this up from Pew,
and you said
I proved you wrong, that you would say that you were wrong?
Absolutely, I'm wrong. So you said over.
So we're looking at disparaging difference here in this category. Be able to support a family financially. A woman isn't expected to do that. Yet that's what the welfare system is designed for. Even though it's not expected, that's what it's designed for. And there are more children of the desolate than there are of the married wife. Don't ever forget that, folks.
Now, you remember how you said earlier, if we pull this up from Pew,
and I
proved you wrong, that you would say that you were wrong?
Absolutely, I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong. You're right.
Wait, I was right? Oh,
yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing the data. I really appreciate that.
But just to make one thing clear, so we do speak in generalizations here. Like Andrew said, you can intuit some of these things. We're not going to be able to pull up statistics in each and every instance when we're just having sort of casual conversations. Like people can just throw out general statements about things, and we're not always going to be able to pull up the statistics.
You know, just general statements. They're not facts.
But like, do you need a study to show that generally speaking, women prefer tall men?
I don't want to belabor the point.
Well, you can just answer the question and I can move on.
If I say yes, then we're gonna belabor the point. Like there should be evidence behind what you say.
I agree with that.
So sure, we can speak in generalizations. This is an informal podcast. We're not on Joe Rogan. We don't need to look at everything all the time.
Evidence can be intuitive.
Yet when you show her those reports, she negates them. That's her whole problem. They just showed you a report, and on that one, she admitted it. So the expectation is that keep bringing up these reports. They're saying we're not going to keep bringing up those reports. There's an objective view that you can see already yourself. You yourself do not want an obese, beer-guzzling man over a nice 6'3", 260-pound, strapping, strong man with a good physique. You can't avoid it, ladies. Quit being so fucking stupid in your denial.
Sure, that's great. I really would love to move on from this.
Okay, so how about this? Do I need like a study? For example, if I were to say that the sky is blue, do I need a study for that? Or for that, or can we just observe with our own eyes that it's blue? Do we need to study?
Is my blue different than your blue? How do we know what blue is blue?
I'm not trying to do.
Now she's being stupid. See? She's stuck and she has nowhere to go, so she's going to turn to stupidity again. And then giggle it off as if though it's just a little girly thing.
No, I know. Sure. No, we can generalize that the sky is blue. Yes, we can say the sky
And
is
certainly
blue.
there are people who are perhaps colorblind who might register it as gray.
Yeah,
but
the
I
sky is
don't think it would be wrong to make a statement that the sky is blue.
I am telling you, this is not something that I need to keep talking about. These women are way more interesting than this topic. I really don't want to keep talking about it.
I mean, everybody deserves to have some time, but
Yeah.
if you're gonna, I mean, the point needed to be belabored because if we're gonna have communication,
Sure,
right, we have to know how to
big on
communicate.
it, yeah.
We have to know how to communicate.
I have a degree in communications.
Yeah, so then you agree that we need.
Yeah, she has a degree in communication. Oh my God. This woman has a degree in communication and cannot communicate. Wasted money, I'm sure.
You need to know how to communicate.
Yeah, and I think that if you're going to quote a statistic that's not overall inherent, like the sky is blue, that's something I think everybody could agree on. I didn't agree on that, so I asked you for research. We could have just done that in 2 seconds instead of a 10-minute argument of why I needed the research.
Up.
Okay,
That
well,
way,
that's
that
great.
way we could but the thing is so now it's my turn to say what I have trouble believing.
Absolutely.
Very difficult for me to believe in current year that women don't know that men don't have much in the way of preferences towards women's finances.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you have to think of where I live in my space. That's not,
Can I ask you a question? So,
Sure.
do you think, using you as an example, that a man would prefer? How do I want to frame this here?
I can't speak to what men know, so I don't know.
Well, your flight attendant, you get these perks. They would potentially benefit a boyfriend or future husband. Given that, do you think?
See, what that poll is showing is that it's the women that believe it's the finances that are important, or that finances are an important part of a relationship, where very few men do. Only a third of the men believe that finances is a large portion of the relationship, whereas 82% of the women think it is. They're dependent upon that money, whether they get it from you or the welfare system.
They would prefer you as is with your job, or let's say you were somehow magically able to transform and be 3 points more attractive, but you don't have a job and you're a barista and you make minimum wage. Do you think they prefer you as you are now with your really cool job or whatever, or 3 points more attractive, but you're just a barista and you make minimum wage?
I mean, I think that's okay if somebody thinks that, but that's their opinion.
Well, in terms of your romantic prospects, do you think you would do better in the dating landscape, the dating marketplace, with one or the other?
I don't think it matters because I wouldn't want to date somebody that would want me to be 3 points hotter but be a barista. So I would rather be single.
But in terms of romantic interest shown your way.
Okay, so fine. You personally would not want to date a man who would want to partner with a woman of a lower socioeconomic.
See, she wants somebody that wants to be romantically involved with her as the way she is. And those men are very far and few in between. And she's unwilling to change to find one that will fill in that romantic void. You got to learn what to give and take, people. And again, this isn't just ladies. This is men too. Same damn deal.
Status. You would find that disgusting. That's fine.
No, that's not what I said.
Well,
I said that's not my preference.
But you said that.
I value other things besides looks, so I wouldn't want a person that values looks over everything else.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm just saying the heart of the question. See, and you could have hit him with a straw man. That would work.
That might have been a straw man.
But anyway, the thing is the heart of the question, what we're trying to get at is whether or not you would prefer that. Right? We're trying to look at it from the other perspective. Do you think that men would likely have a preference towards one or the other?
Didn't we just have this conversation?
No.
I can't speak to what men would like.
Okay.
I can't speak to what men would like. See, always going to go the simple way out and make an excuse. Well, I'm a woman. I can't think like a man.
Do you have no opinion on whether or not
why can't women speak to what men like?
I'm not a man. I don't know.
But as men, we've kind of learned to some degree certain things that that women like in men. Women like confident guys. They like tall, successful, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that this is really in dispute.
I sat here and said I feel like I'm a valuable person because I have a great job and a lot of things to offer, and you just sat here and said no, you don't. So
that's a straw man.
There you go. And you said, well, most men don't think so.
It had nothing to do with your value as a person, but when it comes to...
Didn't you say that most men don't care about finances?
Yeah, but so me saying most men aren't dating around financial preference has nothing to do with your value.
Oh, okay.
Why would that have anything to do with your value?
Well, I guess not.
Yeah.
But
you got to get away from conflating your value with the finances. That's the problem, ladies. That's a big problem. What happens? What happens when you end up on that welfare and can't bring your child up? Now is your child a deadbeat dad before he even gets a chance to be a dad because you didn't have enough money because you gave up the money that the guy was going to give you later on in life for some kind of stupidity where you ended up on welfare? See how welfare fallback isn't so fucking great for you. It's what's destroying the families and creating a lot of this insanity, giving you false hopes on a false patriarch.
I thought that my finances brought value to my dating.
They,
Someone
they,
will.
yeah,
That's what I
of
thought.
course, she's absolutely right. Because somebody, I'm sure that they will.
Right. So, but most
Your finances would bring value to your relationships if you had a lot of finances. If you had a lot of money, it's going to take a lot of money to cover up the stupidity and the obvious not caring about herself. And with that, we've come to the end of the stream for tonight. What do you got so far, Iman? You got anything to say before we head out? You there? All right. Well, sounds like she walked off.
Oh, I'm right here.
Oh,
I'm
there
right
she
here.
is.
Yeah. I'm saying I had a part earlier. That's why I put that information in the chat. And it was based on one of the videos you had earlier. But I kind of just wanted to see about clarity because they were talking about a defendant as an agency. And with the woman
Yeah.
that was on there that was talking about I think it was a judge or something, and she was talking about something, and I couldn't understand. Well, I understand most of what she was saying, but she didn't really make herself clear in her position. And it was the gentleman who said he was fearful of losing his job and standing up to
Yeah,
the
to the
situation,
homophobic accusations and shit. Yeah.
right, to what was being said. So in the light of that, she was saying something was being said about her attorney and her not something about the investigation, and some to the point where they would exonerate her. So the part that I'm getting at with that, how is it that all her information, and they do have the evidence of her conduct, behavior, and mannerism, okay, which he videotaped. So how is that she can want to be exonerated when it's evidence that they have, when these people sitting on the
Well,
bench
yeah.
making legal determinations on people's lives, and they don't have full evidence because a lot of information is either corroborated or omitted. So how is that in a way to say that she is a defendant of the state? Because wouldn't she fall under Rule 17, plaintiff, public
Yep.
officer capacity?
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to say. Rule 17 under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, it clearly says plaintiff and defendant capacity, public officer. You got to be in the performance of the functions of public office one way or another. You have to be an officer or have a contract as an agent of an officer. That's the only way. That's the resident. Federal, state, or municipal officer or agent whose resident presence is deemed necessary by the board. If that's not true,
So under 28 U.S. Code 1391, when they say the agency is a defendant. That can also be a natural man or woman being an agency as
Correct.
well.
As
Correct?
agent. As agent.
As agent. Agent
Right.
for an agency.
Right. And that is because that agency is holding records, and the holder of the record is liable. So the agency has the obligation, and the agent has the liability.
So in that one, in that case, it would be that if that particular official is looking for an attorney to make legal determinations to help her situation so she can get out of it, isn't that a situation where that if the attorney to assist her will be making legal determination based on evidence that's already being corroborated, and by her wanting to get out of it, that would mean that both of them would be under some kind of
Bias.
it would be biased, it will be impartial, and it would be a conflict of interest. Correct? Right?
Correct. And that's why I say, and that's why I said myself earlier that that's going to be unlikely. What it was is they say they hope to vindicate her, and you're not going to vindicate something like that. Like I said, it's multi-aspect of racism, homophobic, and all kinds of other discrimination over a course of years. It's not something new. It's something that is systemic, not just belonging to her, but throughout the entire court system. So, and that's what we're facing. Judicial Tenure Commission, judicial complaint. And with that, we are done. We are at the end of the stream. You got final word on the way out, Iman?
Hold on. No, I'm good. I just had to make that point because it seems like in their capacity being fiduciary officers, they need to take more responsibility. But just as you said, brother, it's all about the power that they think they have or it's been granted to them just because they sit on a bench.
Yep. And that's why we the people have to understand our power, and their political power is inherent in the people and the consent thereof. So think about that. And you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. That's to say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you. And this has been Balls to the Walls. Tits out and balls to the walls. So may God bless you and have a good night. We'll see you again next time, guys.
When you want it. How do you want it? Who's your daddy? What about your mom?